of the Hollywood casino employees here locally, all 800 of them and all 16,000 nationwide, welcome to the Hollywood Casino 400! All right, it's almost go time. Drivers, start your engines!
With gusto, we are ready to race here at Kansas Speedway today. And our ESPN in-race reporters, a man who'd make a lot of these Kansas fans very happy if he were able to win. Clint Bowyer from Emporia, southwest of here, about 100 miles, reignited his championship hopes with a big win at Charlotte last Saturday night, his third victory of the season. Kansas Clint would love to pull off the victory here in his hometown, something that's avoided him thus far in his Sprint Cup career. We'll talk with Clint on the parade and pace laps about whether it's possible today, next.
Listen, we're gonna...
In NASCAR, we love our nicknames, don't we? Some are catchy and, well, some are downright scary. But none roll off the tongue quite like a hometown handle. Awesome Bill from Dawsonville, Texas Terry, the Rushville Rocket. This weekend, it's about Kansas Clint.
And interesting to note that Kansas Clint Bowyer's in about the same position points-wise as Tony Stewart was a year ago. After 5 races in the chase, Stewart, the eventual champion, was 24 points off the lead. Clint Bowyer is hanging there 28 points from the top. If he can win some more like he did last week, you just never know. Clint Bowyer, our ESPN in-race reporter today.
Hey, Clint, Dale Jarrett. We were just showing the fans your stellar season so far here, and with that victory last week, and kind of leads us to our mailbag question. Parker from Emporia, Kansas asked, with 3 wins this year, did you ever think that transitioning to a new team would go so smooth?
Man, I tell you, it's been a dream come true, really, to be able to change everything that we changed from the ground up. Everything, I mean everything. And have this much success this quick has just been a lot of fun. But, man, we ain't done yet. We got 5 more races to try to win us the championship. We're going after it.
Hey, Clint, I know that you've had a lot of time on the racetrack this week, but a lot of that time was spent just kind of in one groove. But as you watched the Nationwide race yesterday, did it give you a little better feeling that that second groove is going to be something you can use today?
That's definitely something we all had our eye on watching that Nationwide race, seeing how those double file, restarts were going on and how much success they could have on the outside. We got to get some rubber bird into it. We know this track is progressive banking, and over time, eventually, that line will come in. Just a matter of time to see if it'll happen in this race, and if it does, we'll adapt to it, adjust our car to it, make it happen.
All right, Clint, thanks for talking with us. Have a great day out there. And now Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Brian Patty.
Hey, Brian, it's Andy in the booth. Congratulations last week on a big win, engineered up there on the pit box. Coming here to Kansas, though, this is a real challenging surface. It's a brand new racetrack. How do you make a car go fast and, furthermore, keep it fast all day here?
Well, obviously testing 2 days helped us out a lot. Used a lot of the 55 notes from the tire test when they tested here. So track's so smooth. We've got every ounce of speed out of the car that we think we have. But it just puts you in such a small box for adjustments. So we'll do the best we can. Strategy is going to be important today. Track position is going to be key, just like anywhere else. And we'll just do the best we can.
Well, thanks a lot, Brian. You've done a great job so far for Clint this year. I'm sure you'll do it today. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you, guys.
Clint Bowyer starting inside row number 2 today. Our in-race reporter, our over-the-wall camera, is being carried by Alan Troutman today, the front tire carrier for Carl Edwards, another team and driver that'd love to have a Kansas win. Have a great day, Alan.
Thank you.
Carl Edwards starting in 17th position at the closest track to his hometown of Columbia, Missouri. Most of our ESPN high-definition onboard cameras ride with championship chasers today. Brad Keselowski, the point leader, has got the Dodge on board.
Interesting stat of the week. In the last 3 repaved tracks, there's been a wreck on the first lap.
All right, well, that trend's either going to continue or it's not. It's 50-50 chance.
Well, that's an interesting one there. Casey Kane from pole position's got the Sprint onboard camera. Danica Patrick's got the GoDaddy.com on board. And Denny Hamlin, one of the title contenders, with the fresh from Florida Gulf Seafood camera. Here's Clint Boyer, the 5-hour Energy onboard camera. And Greg Biffle, who's enjoyed a great deal of success at this track, has the Ford EcoBoost on board. Mr. 5-time Jimmie Johnson's got the Lowe's on board.
The thing, Earl, is just be aware of the wind as it is blowing today. If it does shift around or as it does increase, let's just try to keep Jimmy abreast of what's going on. I can't feel too much down here.
Another interesting thing to keep an eye on, and Martin Truex Jr., who led so many laps and came so close to winning here in April, has got the Toyota on board today. He'll be one to keep an eye on as we go through this race as well. So as the cars work the parade and pace laps today, we look again at the championship picture, beginning race 6 in the chase, with Brad Keselowski having half the lead over Jimmie Johnson that he did a week ago, just 7 points, and Denny Hamlin 15 back.
Yeah, but I'm going to keep my eye on pole sitter Casey Kane today. I know the 3 analysts down in the pit studio have all said he doesn't have a chance at this championship. I'm not giving up. 5 of his wins have come from the pole. Of those 14 that he has, and half of them, 7, were on 1.5 mile tracks.
Yeah, and I know that they've probably written off Tony Stewart too, but he's my guy to watch. I know he doesn't have a great average finish here for the last 3 races at 18th, but the last 3 repaves, he's finished no worse than 3rd. So I've got my eye on him today.
That's a fascinating twist too. So Tony Stewart, a lot of work for Tony, starting 33rd on today's grid. And for more stories from pit road before they go up to full speed racing, we check with Vince Welch.
And Alan, when this chase started, Greg Biffle believed he was going to be one of those contending for the championship, but he had 3 straight races to open the chase outside the top 10. Of course, the guys in the pit studio promptly put a fork in him, and Biffle admits that it's a long shot as far as his championship hopes are concerned. But if there's a chance at all, Biffle and crew chief Matt Pusha know they've got to be aggressive on the track and on the pit box, and they promise they will be today. Doc Punch?
Denny Hamlin's week in Kansas began with a destroyed race car after a near 200-mile-an-hour slide into the wall and a trip to the infield care center. But Denny rebounded nicely. He qualified a backup car in 9th position. And today, crew chief Darian Grubb said, you know what? This car Denny's in right now is not quite as fast as the other one, but this one may be more consistent on the long run. So we should be just fine. Here's Dave Burke.
You just saw the graphic. Jimmie Johnson cut the lead in half after last week's strong run in Charlotte. But what about the other 7 points? Well, crew chief Chad Canals told me this morning they've got all the speed they need. They're right where they need to be speed-wise, and we know that they're a player in the fuel mileage game. Kansas Speedway may be all new, but the 48 has been here before. Jamie Little?
Well, last week when point leader Brad Keselowski ran out of fuel mid-race, it was a perfect opportunity to point the finger at his crew chief Paul Wolfe, but that wasn't the case. Instead, the two talked about it, learned from it, and they moved on. This is exactly what makes them a dynamic duo. They respect each other, and they share in making the race calls together. I expect to see more of that today as they start mid-pack in 25th. Alan?
All right, Jamie, thanks. And before we get started with the Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas, we remind you to check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy to watch coverage live today from Kansas Speedway by following your favorite drivers for free with 8 live camera views. So a couple of drivers have to drop to the back of the pack because they made engine changes during the official race weekend, not the test days Wednesday, Thursday, but from Friday onward. Jeff Burton, one of those who will go to the back. Danica Patrick also made an engine change and will drop to the back on these pace laps for the start. There were 6 engine failures during the April race here. When with fresh pavement and higher speeds, but a different gear ratio, we'll see if that becomes a story today. 267 laps on this 1.5 mile track make up the 400 miles. The championship leader is deep in the pack. His primary rivals for the title are up front for the start. And we are ready to go racing before a huge crowd at Kansas. Clint Boyer in that pink and black car did not get through turns 1 and 2 well at all.
No, he had a big wiggle as he tried to exit turn 2.
Mark Martin's going to lead lap 1. Kasey Kahne in second in the 5. Aric Almirola in a car they were rebuilding in the garage area this morning slides through to third in the 43. Jimmie Johnson on the move, 48. Racing with Joey Logano there. That's for 6th and 7th. And for 2nd place, again, Almirola.
Right off the bat, that second lane's pretty good. I know Kasey Kahne lost his spot right there, and he gets a little loose off turn 2. I see a lot of action up there on the start of the race. Mark picked the lead from up there.
Kyle Busch through. Ryan Newman through Kasey Kahne.
I believe these cars that we see struggling and drivers with their cars right now are probably a little bit on the loose side. You have a new surface, the speeds are up there, but it makes it very difficult to handle that loose situation.
Clint Bowyer trying to regain some lost ground, working on Jimmie Johnson for the 8th spot.
The situation right here, that inside car, you think is going to have the advantage. We saw Jimmie Johnson give him a little bit more room right there. If they stay tucked up right there side to side, it makes that inside car get extremely loose in the corner.
Matt Kenseth 17, A.J. Allmendinger 51.
That 51 car with Allmendinger looks pretty strong. He's been pretty strong all week. Been about top 15 car just about the whole time.
How long is it going to take you as a driver to feel out how much of that top lane you can use and to what extent?
Yeah, it's going to take a while. I mean, you're just going to be easing into the throttle. You're not going to drive it off into the corner. And so that means that your speed in the center of the corner is not going to be as great. This is what we're going to see a lot of, too. Although Allmendinger not able to make that pass there, but we will see some cars utilize that with a big draft down the front straightaway.
Almirola closing in on Mark Martin for the race lead up front. And Jamie, there was a big crowd around this 43 car just before it rolled off onto the racetrack.
Well, there sure was. Right after they said gentlemen start, he fired it up and said, I'm not getting any fuel pressure. He said, as soon as I let off the throttle, it quits running. So they had engineers, everybody looking at it. Of course, they couldn't do anything to fix it. So we'll keep an eye on it, Alan.
It's got fuel pressure now, Jamie. He just took the lead.
Yeah, he solved the problem. He just doesn't let off the gas.
That's it. 43 looks stout.
Good perspective from that shot, just how fast they're going. Here on this new pavement at Kansas, we saw some speeds in practice on Saturday of 207 miles an hour into turn 1.
Yeah, it's going to be the fastest part of the racetrack. You get through, as you enter turn 3 here, and can get back to the gas so early, these drivers are telling me, way before the center of the corner. Therefore, you're carrying a lot of speed on the exiting corner. The trioval was the fastest part.
There's
well over 200.
Sorry, Dale, there's your championship leader, Brad Keselowski, started 25th. Settled into line. And he's trying to pick him off one at a time, Dave.
I thought it was interesting in the pre-race, Brad talked about how Paul Wolfe, his crew chief, and Brad believe in each other. Well, I'll tell you who else he's believing in right now. His spotter, Joey Meyer. Joey has been practically non-stop talking to his driver. Starting back that far, he's got lots of cars to pass, inside, outside, and he's been in his ear the entire first few laps of this race.
Well, it was their radio we heard that stat on the pace laps about the early wreck.
There is a set of one car running the middle lane. They're side by side. He's not moving backwards or forwards. It's the 48 beside the 17. They've been that way for 3 or 4 laps, just so you know. 5 back to the crowd. He was actually able to complete the pass on the 17 on the middle lane like the Nationwide cars. 5 back to the 78. That's good information he's given him just so he knows if he finds himself in that situation that, hey, that second lane is pretty good. You can use it.
Right now, Keselowski working on Juan Pablo Montoya to try and get 21st position away in these opening laps. Aric Almirola in Richard Petty's 43 started in 5th position. He's running first after just 11 laps of today's 400 miler. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Kansas, presented by Ram, inviting you to go to NASCAR.com for all of your latest NASCAR information. 16 laps in, Aric Almirola is the leader. Which driver do you think will take first out of this week's top 4 qualifiers? Those 4, Kasey Kahne, Mark Martin, Clint Bowyer, or Kyle Busch. Text FAST to 34763 or go to attfastestdriver.com to play. You can have a chance to win 4 Gs by playing along in today's AT&T Fastest Driver Challenge. And every week you have a chance to make your pick and series stack up against the rest. Kasey Kahne started on pole position, but he's dropped back to 6th place, Vince.
Those first laps after the green flag dropped, Alan, Kasey reported that the car was hitting the splitter as he dropped back a handful of positions. But after the pressures came up, he returned to the radio on lap 8 and said the front end is really good, but he's still a little loose in the right rear. But they certainly feel better than they did those initial laps at the start.
All right, so a little momentary, oh boy, what have I got here? And now things have settled in for today's pole sitter.
Since the last time these guys were on the racetrack, there was obviously a 300-mile race yesterday. Things changed. It looked like it was going to be sunny today. Now we have cloud cover. So a lot of things different. These drivers get settled in. There's Greg Biffle. He's settling in really nicely so far with a little different groove right now.
If you watch Biffle in the corners, saw this just a couple of laps ago where everybody else has got the left sides right down on that white line or yellow line. He's starting to move it up a little bit.
Getting a good run doing that, too. I mean, he made a pass on Joey Logano easily.
Just like he's going to do on Kasey Kahne right here. Wouldn't surprise me to see Kasey move up there once he sees Biffle doing that if his car's not too loose. But Biffle is moving towards the front, Vince.
Andy, as he moved up that half lane, as you guys talked about it, the speed kicking in, and he came over the radio and he said, here we go, hang on to your britches. he felt it getting faster, likes what he's got right now. Matt Fuchsia, the crew chief there on the right-hand side of your screen, told me we were a lot better than 11th where we qualified. We've got a real fast race car. We believe we've got something to work with and can win this race today. It's a long way from over, but they're looking good early.
Yeah, Dale, it's got to be fun when you're the first guy to kind of find that extra groove or that extra speed in another groove.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun as a driver. You get that and start making some passes. You realize others are going to catch on because this is a group of smart drivers you're working with. But it's kind of fun. You just have to be careful. That's still a very narrow groove. You don't want to venture outside of there too far.
Yeah, you're the first one up there. You figure it out. We catch on. Put a camera on it. The spotters up on the roof all catch on. And they all see the lap times. And Greg Biffle certainly will have no lack of confidence here at Kansas Speedway based on past record.
He loved the old track. He looked like he's loving this one too. His fastest car on the track last lap.
So the Biff in 6th and rising. Looks like Denny Hamlin in front of him is starting to creep up and use that second layer of banking as well here at Kansas Speedway. Aric Almirola leading in the early going. Looking down on Kansas Speedway today from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. From pit lane to victory lane, every NASCAR driver counts on Goodyear tires. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. And we invite you to stay tuned for NASCAR nonstop coverage during the second half of today's race, presented by Ram. Caution free so far at Kansas Speedway in race 6 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Still not quite 50 miles into the event. And after Mark Martin led the opening 6 laps, Aric Almirola blasted by him in that 43 car. And he's moved away from second place by nearly 5 seconds. Now, Jamie, when I saw this 43 car in the garage this morning, the right side was unpainted, undecaled on anything.
Well, they had what you could call a little issue yesterday in happy hour. Of course, Aric Almirola, you see him waving out the window saying thank you very much for moving out of my way. Had a little incident, was pushing it. They were so good in all the practice sessions. He ended up sliding up the track, got into the wall on the right-hand side. Thankfully for this team and this rocket ship of a car, we have a caution on the track, guys.
Got one car that's gotten into the wall there. It looks like Casey Mears in the 13.
Trying to get it around here. Brakes are done. Gotta go to the garage.
Yeah, he's hit the wall so hard it looks like maybe broke the brake rotor, which I'll have to put that back on and fix that before they go back out.
Yeah, we're feeling the guys.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, you can see that tire let go right there.
Oh. Casey running in 31st position at the time. And boy, that's a hard shot.
You can see it, momentum almost carried him back up into traffic.
Lose a lot of things on these cars when it's dragging around the racetrack, so some debris to be picked up after Casey Mears into the wall. First caution of the race is out, just 32 laps in. And remember that in the April race here on April 22nd, there were only 3 caution flags in this race. And as we mentioned a little while ago, in yesterday's 300-mile Nationwide Series event, there were 12. We expect today we'll see the yellow flag maybe half a dozen times or so. So pit road's going to be open, Andy, for the opening run of the race. They are way past halfway in a fuel run.
Yeah, it'll take a little more than 1 can of fuel, but 2 tires would still be quicker for track position. One thing I worry about doing that right now, especially after that hard lick from Casey Mears, is you saw that brake rotor. A lot of those parts could be out there that you can't see, and I'd hate to change the right sides and then have maybe a left side with a slow leak in it. That's something that some of the guys will be thinking about. But it is still an opportunity to get 2 tires and get track position.
Brian Patty, Clint Bowyer's crew chief, told me this morning, you've got to play the game. And he meant this game, calling the race extremely well today if you're going to win this thing or have a good finish. Here they are, Doc.
All right, Denny Hamlin's at the little edgy on entry, little free on exit, so they're going to make a 4-tire change so they can adjust the air pressure here on his 11 car. Fill it full of Sunoco fuel. Left side tires going on now. They burn.
Kyle Busch gives up 3rd for 2 right side tires and Sunoco fuel chassis adjustment. Tight race car. Jamie.
Eric Almirola happy with his car. Right side's 1 can of fuel and he's gone. Vince.
Mike Langenfeld changing the front tire for the 16 car after their normal changer was sick. It's a 2-tire change. Track bar adjustment just a tick free for Greg Biffle at the start.
Going to see mostly just right side tires at the front of the pack. A couple of guys that made 4 tire changes. Going to give up a lot of track position under this first caution.
Show me the Carfax.
It has not been a weekend where anyone's probably lost any weight hanging around Kansas City, as we welcome you back to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Hollywood Casino 400 and remind you to check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy to watch coverage live from Kansas Speedway. Follow your favorite drivers for free with 8 live camera views. Doubling up for the restart. Reminder of the Big O Tires NHRA Nationals from Las Vegas. Next weekend qualifying 1:30 a.m. Saturday, ESPN2. And the Big O Tires NHRA Nationals Finals next Sunday at 8 Eastern Time, also on ESPN2. Next Sunday, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series from Martinsville, the Paperclip, 1 Eastern Time. Next weekend, another wild card race in the chase. Martinsville next Sunday. Can't wait. Denny Hamlin from 6th to 19th with getting 4 tires, Doc.
Yeah, let's check in with Darian Grubb. And Darian gave up quite a bit of track position, taking 4 versus others taking 2. Why'd you do that?
We got 232 laps to go, and we're doing our adjustments early so we can play the games later.
What he was talking about with being free in and free off, did you have to take 4 to be able to make that adjustment?
We really didn't have to, but we really wanted to get a good read on a car here early to try to figure out what's going on with the race car and what adjustments work, so we'll be faster at the end.
All right, an adjustment early on. Lost some track spots, but they hope it'll pay off in the long run, AB.
All right, Doc, thanks.
Seemed pretty confident in that decision.
Looking at the restart order, top of the screen, there were only 7 teams that took 4 tires, and they're all well back in the field. Denny Hamlin being among them, who got the 4 tires. And Hamlin aggressive there, bottom of the screen in that black number 11, 3 wide and gets a couple of spots into turn 1.
Al Busch is trying to lead. Eric Almirola not wanting to give this spot up. He likes it out front.
Whoa, hang on there, Kyle.
Wow, that 43 is strong.
Ryan Newman showed a little muscle there on the bottom.
These guys showing up here, you don't have to be a part of the chase to want to win this race out here today.
Almirola clears Kyle Busch. Ryan Newman trying to work to the inside of Kyle for second. 39 car.
We've had a little contact between the 17 and the 55.
And look at this scramble. They're all over the place. 4 wide here. Oh, that's close.
In fact, Martin got forced out of the groove and then kind of caused a big scramble right there in that group.
Mark was running 6th. Here it is.
It's just the arrow that we were talking about. We saw this a couple of times yesterday in the nationwide race. What looked like some contact, it was just getting right there. We're seeing these cars run closer together. And I'm looking going down the front straightaway. They're 4 wide. Wow.
Trouble off the corner. Kyle Busch spins.
Yellow's out, yellow's out, yellow's out. Think you got a tire down, go right to your box, leaders into 2.
Kyle Busch from racing side by side with Almirola for the lead after the restart to spinning through the tri-oval grass and bringing out the caution.
The man got away with it. Don't see any damage.
Turn your radiator fan off, shake it, see if you can get the grass up your grill.
Yeah, that started back in the corner as he tried to exit. Was in the gas hard, but you can see the car wiggle, and it was just a matter of trying to keep it off the wall, and Kyle did a great job of that.
Wow.
Mentioned this yesterday a little bit with these hard tires, and this is what has to be done with, I keep talking about a hard tire. It's not that they're too hard, but this is what has to be done on a new surface, or you're going to get into a blistering situation. But with them being hard, and especially now that the temperature has cooled off a little bit, when this thing slips just a little bit, the driver really can't catch up fast enough. You see that little bit of a wiggle, and then the next thing is the car is turning around.
Well, I talked to Brian Patty actually before the race started. He's talking about, too, that to make these cars go fast on these kind of tracks and these surfaces, it puts you in a really tight box. I heard him say that. And that this setup is very, very edgy. And so you can be really fast and be right. But if you get just a little off, boy, it's hard to handle.
Now, last week in Charlotte, we saw a series of quick cautions. And during that, Paul Wolfe for Brad Keselowski got off schedule on his pit stops and made up a lot of track position and got his car to the front to the point that they lead the most laps. They were just in on pit road not, 7 laps ago.
Yeah, that's not quite enough laps. Plus, he's already made his way up to 11. I mean, he's made up a ton of track position here. He's passing cars. Car's really good right now. I'd stay out if I was him.
Yeah, I think he might be able to get there the old-fashioned way today.
Yep. Pit road open to the lead lap cars.
You might see some of the guys coming from the back, but leaders are going to stay out.
No takers for a long way back. Maybe not any takers at all. Early in the going here in the heartland at Kansas Speedway, it's been a little bit of a wild and woolly race so far. In race 6 of the chase, Casey Mears hard into the outside wall in that 13 car, bringing out the first caution, little pit strategy on that yellow flag, and then Kyle Busch bringing out yellow number 2, spinning from second place off of turn number 4 down into the tri-oval grass. Scott Speed, free pass on the first yellow, no free pass on the second caution. Our telecast today presented by Ram. And we come to the restart with Aric Almirola. On the inside lane, the race leader getting a good jump on Ryan Newman. Newman hanging tough on the outside for a challenge from Jimmy Johnson for second.
See A.J. Allmendinger back there trying to make a move on Greg Biffle.
Allmendinger having a great run here. Got that 51 car up in 5th spot right now. Casey Kane trying to make that high line work. He saw Greg Biffle go by him earlier, and Biffle right in front of him.
Logano thought Logano was going to look down a little lower there for 3 wide. Here's a couple wide behind him. Martin Truex Jr., 56, and the championship leader, Brad Keselowski, in the 2. That's 9th place that just changed hands.
Wide.
Casey Kane in that 5 had all kind of troubles getting up off of turn number 2.
Yeah, looks like they still just don't have its car tightened up enough for Casey Kane yet.
A lot of people talked to me in the garage this morning and yesterday about how critical restarts were going to be from behind the wheel. That because of the aerodynamics and the speed and the hard tires and all of the different elements that go into today's race, when you're doubled up for that restart and they wave the green flag, you must be aggressive and get everything you can as quickly as you can.
Yeah, and it's the most tense moments as a driver. As you can see right there, Casey Kane getting a little bit loose again. Martin Truex trying to take advantage, going to the apron, try to make this pass. Not going to quite get there this time, but really a tense moment. You're jacked up for this, the double file restarts. You know there's not a lot of racing room, but it's an opportunity that you really have to strike.
Jimmy Johnson clearing Ryan Newman for 2nd place. 48 car. Steady and solid in the opening laps. And already Almirola, look at the gap he's opened up while they raced for 2nd place.
Yeah, that car has shown speed right from the very beginning, and then as we saw in a longer run in that first time out, that the car didn't fall off much. So Aric Almirola's got a nice car. Brad Keselowski trying to make this outside work. He got up a little higher down in 3 and 4 the last lap than what I think he really wanted to. That allowed Clint Bowyer to get to his inside, but now he's able to pull away.
It's 10th place for Keselowski, who started back in 25th.
Seems like what I've seen so far, that second lane is a little better in 1 and 2 than it is in 3 and 4.
What do you think the odds are that camera makes the day, the way those cars are sliding around there in turn 2?
And we see these cars, yeah, keep inching up higher and higher too.
Joey Logano 20, Casey Kane 5, 7th and 8th places. Logano's been really solid in this chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. No, not eligible for the championship, but he's got top 10 finishes in all but the Talladega race in the chase so far.
Seems like Casey Kane's car's trying to come back to him a little bit. Like I say, you have a loose race car. A lot of times it takes 5 or 10 or 12 laps for it to come in on these restarts.
They work there for 7th and 8th. Up front, Almirola works to try and extend his advantage over Jimmy Johnson. As Johnson, now clear of Ryan Newman, tries to track him down. About to complete the 53rd lap of 267. In today's race, our telecast presented by Ram.
Back at Kansas Speedway, this newly repaved and reconfigured Kansas Speedway. We are 59 laps complete with Aric Almirola in that Richard Petty Motorsports number 43 car out front. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear from pit lane to victory lane. Every NASCAR driver counts on Goodyear tires. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. 5-hour energy rapid recap, going to get us caught up on what has happened so far. There's a lot going on with this new track. Lots of variables, Brad.
Yeah, it really is, and we're seeing some passing lanes, a lot of speed. Aric Almirola has been extremely stout, but guys really trying to figure out where they can get comfortable and run.
Tell you what, this track is finally starting to come around. Like you talked about, the second groove is starting to come in. We saw Kyle Busch spin out, though, off at turn 4, which is a big surprise because the track looked good, and then he just lost it all by himself.
There were some people who were afraid that this track would be a single groove track. So not the case.
No, so not the case. A single groove on the track. Those guys are double wide on the apron. Everything we've talked about before the show is happening. We're getting too wide racing, but we are seeing some very loose race cars.
Eric Almirola out front by nearly 2 seconds, but right behind him, one of the chasers. Let's get up to speed with them, Dave.
10-4 on the loose race cars. That includes second place Jimmy Johnson right now. He just radioed in to his crew that the car is loose, and the response back was all the way through. He says, well, when I'm exiting the corner and I'm getting fully on the gas, then it's fine. But other than that, 48 car is loose, Vince.
Well, running in third place on the track is Greg Biffle. Biffle came into this race 6th in points, but he's been hot lately, gained 5 positions the last 2 races, and they knew they had a good race car again today, and Biffle has proven it. They did make a track bar adjustment on that first stop, but Biffle says it's real good right now. Doc?
Running back in 4th spot, Matt Kenseth, not worried about winning a championship, pretty much out of it. They're worried about trying to run up front and win races. They changed 2 tires when they came in, and Matt says after air pressure out of the front, the car really loose on entry. Hard to get the car in using the throttle. Vince.
Kasey Kahne started on the pole, but right now he's running 7th. He dropped back almost immediately. The car's been hitting the splitter at the beginning of the run, but then as the run goes, the car comes to him. Kahne just radioed, we're getting a lot better right now. Kasey Kahne currently running 7th. Jamie?
And Martin Truex Jr. started this race 16th, running 9th right now. Remember, back here in June, he was the class of the field. He led 173 laps, only to be passed with 30 to go and ended up 2nd. They're here for redemption. The car's been a little tight, but going forward, Dave.
Great recovery so far for the championship leader, Brad Keselowski, coming into today's race. Started 25th, took on 2 right side tires on that first run. It was tight in the first run. This run, though, quite a bit looser, Brad has radioed in. Another one of those cars that's a little bit too free, Doc.
How about Kansas Clint back in 11th spot? He grew up in the farm country of Kansas, and that's appropriate. Right now, Clint said this car is plowing. He said, I can't get in the corner. The car will not turn coming up off. Although basically he has now moved up to the top of the racetrack in turns 1 and 2. And he said just now he is finding some more speed up there. Now back behind him as far as chases are concerned, Denny Hamlin, who was running 6th, took 4 tires, restarted back in 19th, and now has gained a couple of spots. Denny's issue right now is that the car is just too loose to run up high. They told Denny, you can move the car up a little bit, we can get more speed. He said, I can't get up there right now. I am just very loose. Jamie.
And Jeff Gordon started this race 19th, running 18th right now. Before the last stop, he said he was a little tight on throttle when they came in. They took right sides and fuel. And then his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, said, that was my fault. We should have taken fuel only. Right now, Jeff Gordon saying he has a little bit of vibration and he's lost some grip, Vince.
Tony Stewart qualified 33rd, didn't get a good qualifying lap, so they knew there was going to be a big challenge for them making their way up through the field, especially with this narrow groove. Car started tight. They put a spring rubber in the right rear on that first stop, and Tony says right now the front end just is not working good enough. Whether or not that's something that's aero related or car related, they're still trying to figure that out. The 29 of Kevin Harvick, he says it's just way too loose. They did come in and top off earlier, so they've got about an 8 or 9 lap advantage from that perspective on the competition. They say their cars are better than what their finishing results have been in the chase. Still haven't scored their first chase top 10. Nicole?
6 chasers in the top 10, but they're all chasing one driver, and that is Eric Almirola, who at this point in the race has been out front for 61 laps. We're at lap 69 with green flag pit stops. Coming up, more from the new Kansas Speedway coming up in just a few minutes.
Oh, hi, Tom.
Caution flag is out again here at the Kansas Speedway for trouble in turn number 3. A.J. Allmendinger's car about to be towed away after a very hard impact. You see A.J. is out of the car and okay. Watch that red and white 51 car.
Just as he's entering 3. Right front tire, let's go. Hard impact into the wall, but he is out of the car and okay.
Yeah, one thing though, he felt something, it looked like earlier, and it slowed down some down the back straightaway, so maybe it wasn't quite as hard as it could have been.
Unfortunately, had a really, really good run going to this point.
Odd. Casey Mears had a right front problem in turn 2 earlier, and now Allmendinger's, and both were after 31 laps of green flag racing. Coincidental, but just odd.
It seems like these new repaved tracks are hard on any tire. I don't care who it is. It's just they're just so hard to build tires for, and the speeds are so high. And this presents a ton of challenges. And if you don't have that set up exactly right, it can overwork one tire.
Yeah, and if you don't get your car exactly right, it's always tempting to put that a little bit more camber in that right front if you were having a turning problem.
Yeah, you know why? Because it's worse speed.
Yes.
Last pit stops at lap 33. Pit road will be open 40 laps later at lap 73. And we expect about everyone to be in. There were a handful of cars that came in on lap 42. But again, that's been already some 30 laps of racing. Aric Almirola, Jimmie Johnson, Greg Biffle, Matt Kenseth, Ryan Newman, the top 5. And here they come, Doc.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth said, guys, I'm still free on entry, but don't touch it, so leave it alone. They're going to be 4 tires topping off with Sunoco fuel. Dave Burns.
Jimmie Johnson said the exit of the corner was good, running in second place, but going into the center, the car was loose. They'll do 2 tires again for the 48, Jamie.
And the 43, he has been great, already led 65 laps today. Right sides and fuel will be the call. No adjustments, Vince.
For Greg Biffle, Matt Pusha, the crew chief, encouraging him get the wheel straight as he enters the box, clean in and clean out. Greg wanted no changes. They're going to make right side tire change, and that is it. Filling it up with Sunoco fuel.
And a lead change on the pit lane. Jimmie Johnson out ahead of Aric Almirola. Another strategy session on the pit lane under caution here at the Kansas Speedway. And the leader in control of the restart will be the 5-time champ, Jimmie Johnson. Coming up the third caution of today's 400-miler at Kansas Speedway. Our telecast presented by Ram. We are going racing in one more lap. Check in on how our drivers are doing in AT&T's Fastest Driver Challenge. Out of the top 4 qualifiers, Mark Martin running closest to the front. Remember to text FAST to 34763 and play AT&T's Fastest Driver Challenge, or visit attfastestdriver.com. You can have a chance to win 4 Gs just by playing. So pit road didn't go quite as smoothly for everyone on this round of pit stops. Tony Stewart will be at the back of the field for this restart. He had a little passenger when he left the pit lane.
The crew forgot to get the wrench out for the wedge adjustment they made. Have to come back and get it out.
Feel free at any point, guys, to get your heads out of your asses.
Well, there you go. All speaking.
Yeah, he would have started 16th on this restart if that hadn't happened.
And right there with Tony at the back of the pack will be Greg Biffle in the 16 car, who came off the pit lane 4th, but was speeding exiting the pit lane and will go all the way back to 31st position. First pit road speeding penalty of the year for Greg Biffle. Now, I will say this, with the repave, all the pit road timing lines are in different places than they were. The zones are different. All the teams after the Pocono race, after the first race after the repave, where there were so many pit speeding penalties, they all knew well about it, and they were all over it, so I'm not going to blame it on that. I'm just pointing that out for disclosure. Big jam on the restart. Almirola had trouble getting going in the 43.
He didn't have any trouble getting off turn 2.
Yeah.
But it did stack things up behind him. They've gotten single file back for about 12 cars.
Brad Keselowski, the championship leader, back in 16th position. Shuffling and scrambling around him. Trying to gain all they can in the first few laps on this restart.
Yeah, this is not where Brad Keselowski wants to be right now. He'd gotten himself out of that position.
And they took 4 tires on their pit stop and they put them back.
Carl Edwards with a big run there. How about that strategy with the 2, Dave?
I was going to say the car passing him, Carl Edwards, they took 4 tires as well. For Brad, though, it was as much about a little track bar adjustment as well. They went down on that. Now, the car was just a little bit loose at the very end of that run. Look at Montoya.
Right now what it's about for Brad is being pinned in behind Kevin Harvick, who looks like he's struggling a little bit. Look at the back end of that 29 car twitching
you
around.
can see Harvick really having a tough time with this car. Like the 2's going to get by him here. Kenseth also got 4 tires on that last stop, and that put him back in the pack a little bit.
Trying to make up some ground, as is Kyle Busch, who, remember, was running second when he spun out and went all the way back to 33rd a few laps back at lap 40, Dave.
Allen had made his way up to 22nd and gained another 10 positions on pit road when they didn't change tires. They just took on fuel, made a slight adjustment for a car that was tight in the front end, but that no tire change is costing him right now.
Yeah, I tell you, when you put fuel in and no tires, always going to make you a little bit loose on the start. You see Kyle really fighting this. And Andy, with what we've seen, I'd be a little skeptical not putting right sides on.
Well, I would do it. Since we've seen a couple of problems already, I would really want to put right side tires on my car every time I got a chance. Just so I wouldn't have the most laps on mine as we go through these cycles.
Joey Logano and Kyle Busch for 14th and 15th positions. Jimmy Johnson out in front. Aric Almirola there. Now clear of the traffic, trying to chase him back down in second. We've just gone back racing from the 3rd caution of the day when A.J. Allmendinger had a hard contact. We have trouble off turn 4. Jeff Burton.
And Burton tagged them all pretty good off turn 4.
Caution is out.
Right front fender damage, y'all. It's rubbing. Right front fender is busted at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock.
Nah, it hit pretty hard.
Jeff Burton had a wiggle, a wobble, and then a hit. And the caution is out for the 4th time. Cleaning up from the 3rd. All right, let's take a look at this first.
You're going to see him get sideways here. Jamie Murray up on the high side, but Burton's down the bottom. See Tony Stewart up. May have been a little contact right there.
So this is the 4th yellow. The 3rd yellow involved A.J. Allmendinger, who has come from the Infield Medical Center. Jamie?
Well, I asked him if he's okay because he did stumble getting out of the car, and you said it was a big hit. But you felt it coming. Where did it start?
It was getting tight the last couple laps, but I thought that was just kind of how the racetrack was going. I had that in the first run, and then I went into turn 1 and felt it get really tight, and actually radioed in and said, I'm pitting this lap, and tried to check up down the back straightaway to try to save it and make sure it didn't blow, and unfortunately it did. And I just feel bad. Everybody at Phoenix Racing, James Finch, Hendrick horsepower. Car was really fast. We were running so well, and I thought we could have had an easy top 10, if not a top 5, and just so disappointing. These guys work so hard. This small group of guys, they've been through a lot this year. They worked their butts off. I've really enjoyed it. I hope I'm in the car next week. I don't know, but if not, James Finch, everybody at Chevy and Hendrick, give me this opportunity. It's meant the world to get back in this sport. I love the sport, and I hope I'm back next week, but if not, I thank James and Steve Barkdahl, everybody for what they've done for me.
All right, A.J. Allmendinger, no plans beyond today, Alan.
Jamie, thanks. Good to see A.J. okay. The pit road is open. Does not appear we have any takers, except for the championship leader, Brad Keselowski, who is going to dive in as Jeff Burton's crew works to repair that 31 car. After this, trouble in turn 4, big trouble.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Burton didn't have to check up right there a little bit, and Tony Stewart got into the back of him.
Yeah, you can see right there. He kind of chased up the hill, then maybe checked up, and it looked like Tony had a little bit of run on him.
How about it, Dave?
Part of the discussion between Brad and Paul, Brad saying a little concerned about all these guys blowing their tires. Paul saying, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about you starting behind all these guys. And all of a sudden, it was 2 is on pit road. So they went ahead and changed 4 tires.
It did look like they're going to give up a lot. They were already 20th in line. They didn't give up a lot by coming to pit road, so not a bad move.
So championship story on the day so far. Brad Keselowski started 25th, worked his way up into the top 10. Then got shuffled back by some strategy on the lap 73 pit stops when they took 4 tires and a lot of other people took fuel only or just right side tires. And now is pitting again here and is going to go to pretty well the back of the line. And we still have 32 cars on the lead lap. While his title rivals Jimmie Johnson and Denny Hamlin are running respectively first for Johnson and for Denny Hamlin 8th. Still very early in the day though.
Oh yeah, we've seen so much switching around and the strategy is going to change throughout this day, but obviously track position means a lot, but they also know that they can pass. You just can't put yourself in a position to get right back in the middle from that 20th on back.
Doubling up for the restart. With Jimmie Johnson in command of this restart and saving some fuel along the way. Let's take an inside look and get unlimited access to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, brought to you by the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app and truly unlimited data on the Sprint network. Jimmie Johnson has turned the fastest speed today. Check this number out, 182-mile-an-hour average, well in excess of 190 miles an hour into the corner. Get unlimited access to NASCAR with live in-car audio and real-time stats on the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app only from Sprint. Get the app and Sprint's truly unlimited data plan at sprint.com/speed. Restarts have been pretty interesting so far.
Yeah, and this one could be one of the most interesting. You've got some heat in your tires, but they've cooled off. Really easy to spin your tires right here, get things really jammed up and have a problem on this front straightaway.
So Almirola in that 43 car spin his tires on the last restart, but everybody got away with it. Easy to start one of those accordion crashes in the field, though, when they're all bunched up like this.
Yeah, it's the second time we've seen Kurt Busch in that 78 make a bold move down on the bottom. I think he figured something out on these restarts.
Yeah, he's pretty racy here today. Got this car up near the top 5.
Mark Martin 55, Clint Bowyer 15 for third, while Almirola tries to press Johnson for the race lead. And here's Kurt Busch again, looking for that apron. Close there. That's close.
Yeah, Mark Martin was wanting to get his car back down to the bottom, but you could see his teammate Martin Truex Jr. had a nice run there, and Mark decided to give just a little bit of room there.
Regan Smith from the 88 started way back in the pack. 39th place. And he's working his way up into this lead group.
Sitter Casey Kane there in that 5 car still has his hands full, this race car, especially on these restarts, but it looks even more so this time, almost like he's got a tire down.
Giving up a spot to Marcus Ambrose. Ryan Newman, now Kyle Busch to his inside. Vince?
That 5 of Casey Kane continues to have an issue with the splitter, especially early in the run. And Casey said it feels like he's got a vibration, particularly on exit, but he's not sure if it's hitting the splitter or what the case is. You see the left front, that's where he's complaining about. It feels like it's just dragging the splitter, upsetting the balance of the car, certainly giving him a handful, especially early in the run. He feels like it comes to him a little bit later, guys, and it gets faster, but it's a handful now.
Yeah, he's giving up way too much on these restarts, though, for it to come back later on.
6 positions on this restart alone. Tony Stewart, Greg Biffle trying to work their way back from the problems on the last round of pit stops. Running 18th and 19th now. They were 31st and 32nd on the restart after the third caution. And now Stewart is up into the 17th position. Just shy of 150 miles today at Kansas Speedway. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series presented by Ram. Jimmie Johnson is out in front. Jimmie Johnson leading race number 6 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup at the Kansas Speedway presented by Ram today. Aric Almirola right with him. Almirola dominated the first 100 miles of this race, led 66 of the 98 laps that have been run so far today. But Johnson getting a lead on an exchange of pit stops a little while ago and has managed to outpace Almirola through 2 subsequent restarts. Coverage of Monday Night Football continues tomorrow on ESPN. First at 6:30, it's Monday Night Countdown, served by Applebee's. Then at 8:30, an NFC North rivalry renewed when Calvin Johnson and the Lions make their way to Soldier Field to take on Brandon Marshall and the Bears. Monday Night Football, Lions and Bears, tomorrow at 8:30 on ESPN. So the 5-time champ, Jimmie Johnson, out in front of this race on the newly resurfaced, slightly reconfigured Kansas Speedway. Johnson coming into the race 7 points behind Brad Keselowski in the championship, 7 positions on the racetrack. And right now Johnson is running first. Keselowski is running 24th.
Yeah, it looks like he's just riding a little bit. He made that pit stop to get 4 tires. I don't know if they're just trying to be in defensive mode here when they saw a couple of those tire failures. Thought maybe they'll just ride a little while. We'll keep an eye on him here and see if he picks it up if he gets close to being a lap down, but he's not nearly up to pace right at this point.
Denny Hamlin running in 11th position. The old as they run.
Coming. So I'll be cool here. Feel like an Eskimo. I'm so cold. You're doing fine, man.
That was Joey Meyer, the spotter up there, saying he's plenty cool.
And the driver telling him, be cool. We're okay. And really, for a group that's not been in the pressure of this championship before, you just wonder, or at least I do, when the pressure really is going to begin to build, when they're going to start to feel it. And walking around the garage area, we all kind of collectively thought today they might be beginning to start to feel it, that we're in the second half of this chase.
It'd be unnatural not to feel some pressure, especially at this point. Never won a championship, and this team trying to get that first one. 5 to go, and they're leading the points. But it's how they handle the pressure. How are they going to handle it from here? This is going to be a tough race to get through, and we'll see how they handle it from here.
Yeah, well, that's no different than Jimmie Johnson and Chad Canales. There's pressure on them, and they've won 5 championships. But it's about this year. It doesn't make any difference what you did in the past. Here's an opportunity right in front of you. You have 5 races to get it done, and you're going to feel that pressure until that last lap at Homestead and whoever's the champion.
And the been there, done that group leading this race with Jimmie Johnson and Chad Canales having that experience behind them to know what to expect over these final 5 weeks.
So you think you want us to free up a little bit, huh? Still want to get sucked into thinking we're better than we are for the end, you know? It's free to freeze still. Could be a little sketchy from time to time, but as soon as I land and load up the car, get a little bit of a heavy front end.
Chad and Jimmie talking about where they're at this point, 150 miles into this race. Noteworthy performance so far in the race, besides Almirola, who's led the most laps, would be Regan Smith in this 88 car, who started back in 39th position, subbing for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Had a real scare in qualifying the other day when this car bobbled terribly on him at 200 miles an hour. Saved it, started in the back, and he is all the way up inside the top 10 as we take an inside look and get unlimited access to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Brought to you by the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app and truly unlimited data on the Sprint network. Regan Smith, biggest mover in the race so far. There it is. Get unlimited access to NASCAR with live in-car audio and real-time stats on the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app. Only from Sprint. Get the app and Sprint's truly unlimited data plan at sprint.com/speed. Dave, they have to be pretty pleased so far.
AB, I've got a theory. Quick review. Who's leading the race?
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson. Okay, the seat in Regan Smith's car is an exact copy of Jimmy Johnson's. The shell, the insert, everything except a little lowering of the headrest is exactly the same. So that may be why Regan's running so well. His car wouldn't turn before the last stop on lap 73. They put on 4 tires, adjusted a little. At this point, he's reporting he needs a little rear grip, but you could say he's driving like a champ right now for a good reason.
Very nice.
So if he gets off a little bit, Dave, they need to put some more padding in the seat instead of a little wedge.
And he's got a 4-time champ right behind him, Jeff Gordon. They talk about Regan Smith, confirmed before the start of the race today by Rick Hendrick that Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been cleared by NASCAR to return to competition next week in Martinsville. So now Regan is of an uncertain future in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, although the rumors continue to persist that we will see him in the NASCAR Nationwide Series next year, perhaps competing for the championship there.
I know there's only so many really good rides out there, but this is a driver that has a lot of talent and deserves a first-class ride just like this is. He's proven he drove into the top 10 last week at Charlotte before the engine expired. He's done a nice job here today. He has a lot of talent, and with the right race team, he could challenge and win races like we saw him win the race at Darlington back a couple of years ago.
Jeff Gordon going to try and pick up a spot on Regan Smith here. That'll be 8th position.
Jeff Gordon is a car that certainly is showing more today than he did in any practice yesterday. They worked a lot on the car, made a lot of changes. We're not very happy with what they had, but that's a good showing going so far.
There's your leader, Jimmy Johnson. Aric Almirola right with him. Under the green here at Kansas.
Living.
A little bit of a long green flag run here at Kansas, and so it's about time for the pit crews to go to work again. Some have had more work to do than others during the course of the day. Kyle Busch's team, after that spin through the grass, having to tune him up, and Brad Keselowski's team with the 4-tire change, an extra stop, if you will, a little while ago that put him back in the pack and gives him a little further to run on this green flag than some of the front runners like Jimmy Johnson. There's the race for the lead, 48-43. Johnson and Aric Almirola. Impressive drive for this 43 team today. Richard Petty Motorsports announcing here this weekend they'd re-signed with Ford for next week, for next season rather. And race leader going to hit the pit lane. That transition Rusty was talking about on NASCAR Countdown that's a little abrupt on a green flag stop. And Jimmy Johnson just made the turn, Dave.
Remember earlier he was talking about his car being good on landing and then off the corner, so a little edgy in. They had a wrench in their hand earlier, the crew did, so as he gets 4 tires, you'll see wedge adjustment in the left rear of the 48 car. This all happening on lap 119 for Jimmy, and he leaves. Jamie.
And Mark Martin in the 55 getting his call down pit road. Too tight is what we're hearing. Up and down pit road is the problem. As the run goes on, they get tighter. 4-tire call here for the 55 of Mark Martin, who's had a great car today.
And guys, what a run for Kurt Busch, 29th all the way to 3rd. They've only changed right side tires twice. Left sides have now been on for 120 laps. He was getting a vibration here 3 laps ago. This pit stop couldn't have come at a better time. First 4-tire stop of the day for Kurt Busch and the Furniture Row team. Jamie.
Martin Truex Jr. said he was just getting a little snug, not really tight yet. 4-tire call for him as well. They'll fill him up with Sunoco fuel, and he's been good to go.
Car up the track in turn 2. It was the leader, Aric Almirola. You saw it on the right side of the screen. He's gotten into the wall with the right front corner of that 43 car. Went 1 lap too far.
Caution out.
And the caution flag for debris from the 43 car.
That's a tough break for that team as well. A great car. Gonna catch a lot of guys though that just made pit stops.
Tony Stewart NASCAR calling out is okay to pass the caution car because he was past the point on pit road you needed to be.
I was waiting to hear from them there, but I thought Tony was okay. Clint Warrior, the leader, looked like he was ahead of him there.
So again, a third time today, a car seems to have trouble on the right front. This time it was the guy who's led more than anyone else in this race, Aric Almirola, and he was leading.
Yeah, it wasn't like that tire exploded, but you could see that that's exactly what happened with it. And a tire issue there of some kind. As a driver at that point in time, you're just kind of along for the ride. Brakes don't do much good. You steer it as hard left as you possibly can. There's just too much momentum.
So you see Tony Stewart coming by the pace car there. Again, there are two spots on pit road that you have to be ahead of the leader at without violating the pit road speed limit. One is the start-finish line, the center line on pit road. The other is the scoring line at the exit of pit road, and Tony Stewart was to the good of that, and that's why he's being sent back around the pace car. And for this 43 team, Jamie, that's heartbreaking.
Well, it is, Alan, and we started telling the story earlier before the caution came out, but he got into the wall yesterday in happy hour, and that's why they were working on the right-hand side of that car, so they had a lot of cosmetic damage already, and now it looks just like it did yesterday. He didn't say any indication of what led to him getting into the wall this time, but he is saying on the radio right now they need to come in and fix the toe.
Yeah,
Could be a big problem.
They got some problems with that right front, Jamie. It looks like the lower control arm and some other pieces. You may have to spend some time in the garage fixing it.
So, fifth caution of the race, and 3 of them for right fronts going down significantly into a green flag run. And part of Casey Mears, AJ Allmendinger, and now the leader at the time, Aric Almirola. The other 2 cautions, the spin by Kyle Busch while running second, and Jeff Burton getting turned into the wall off of turn number 4.
We talk about how quickly things have changed. Didn't we just show a while ago points as they run, which means nothing yet, but Jimmy had like a 20-point lead over Keselowski. Well, now with Jimmy making a pit stop, he would be back in 3rd spot, 19 points behind. So that's 39 points just in a matter of a couple of laps.
And that whole picture will change again after these pit stops and wave-arounds and a few other things that happen.
Kansas Clint comes in as a leader, right side tires. They've only changed right twice. They're going to come around this time for the first time today and change all 4 tires. Dave.
4th place Regan Smith. They're going to fix the exit with a track bar adjustment, and because the fuel is going to take 11 seconds, they're going to take 4 tires. Jamie.
Jeff Gordon just said, I don't know what I just hit, but something in the front end. So they're going to take a look at that. 4 tires and fill it up with fuel, Vince.
Greg Biffle, bottom right of your screen, a 2-time winner here. He's been real fast, but he had a pit lane speeding penalty on the previous stop. Says it's starting to get a little bit too tight. They made a track bar adjustment, 4 tire change.
Andy, you're the crew chief, and you've seen some of these right side issues. Are you going to take 4 every chance you get now, or are you going to stick with just the rights a lot?
I'm not worried about the left sides too much. I'm just going to make sure that every time I come down pit road, definitely put on right side tires. And it's kind of need to be in a little defensive mode, especially if you're one of these point leaders, especially Brad Keselowski's team. I think they're doing a pretty good job. They made a pit stop a while ago, which put them a little out of sync with some of the other leaders that had them with less laps on their right sides than anybody else that run.
Jimmy Johnson now is back in 24th.
The 43 did hit the wall, boss. There was some debris in 3. I think he hit it. He hit these walls every racetrack we go to, and they don't throw caution.
Chad Knaus.
A little frustrated. They didn't need to see the caution for sure right here, but it did need to come out.
So the running order shuffled up as of a result of the caution coming in the middle of a series of green flag pit stops. Clint Bowyer was the race leader at the yellow flag, and he's our ESPN in-race reporter today.
Clint Dale Jarrett, you with us?
Okay.
Well, it looks like you've got a pretty good day going so far. I know it didn't get started off the way you wanted, but looks like your car's a lot better now.
Yeah, I about lost it down in the first corner of the first lap. That'd have been real nice, but just got to keep plugging away. We'll bounce back pretty good. Got a little good fortune there. Just got to keep it going, Bubba.
Hey, Clint, much change with the racetrack that you've seen here so far?
Outside lines widened out for sure. You know, just trying to be careful with the tires. You know, it's still green up there for the most part. I'm trying not to run up there if I don't have to, but let's see what this clean air does right here. Sure was a lot happier in third right there running in clean air than I was back there in 13th or wherever I was. So keep digging and have some fun.
All right, you have fun. Thanks for talking with us, man.
Thanks, brother.
Clint Bowyer, the race leader, under the caution flag here at his home track, Kansas Speedway. Clint racing on the dirt tracks in this area and working at an auto dealership with dreams of being a big-time racer not all that many years ago, and now in the middle of a fight for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship. And he sure would love for this race to turn out like last weekend's race did in Charlotte, when Bowyer and his crew chief Brian Patty worked the strategy just right.
Well, they sure did. They didn't have a really good car in the beginning of the race, and actually Clint said it was terrible. But they turned it around, made a good pit strategy, came home with a win.
Yeah, and I think Clint Bowyer's story is a perfect example and should be inspiration for young racers at short tracks around the country that, you know, if you continue to work hard and you find yourself in the right spot and can make the most of those opportunities that you get, just like Clint has, you can be here winning Sprint Cup races.
All right, well, Bowyer's the leader behind the pace car. They've just waved guys around the pace car that had pitted under green and then were caught by the caution flag. They include Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin, along with Kurt Busch, Mark Martin, Martin Truex Jr., Carl Edwards. Those guys get wave arounds back onto the lead lap. Jamie McMurray also getting a wave around, but he is more than one lap down. And so that whole picture with Keselowski running in the back, Johnson leading, and Hamlin in the top 10 now shuffles around as a result of the timing of the pit stops and the caution, where Brad Kay is in front of his closest pursuers for the championship.
That's the way it is right now, but that's one of the things about the wave round rule that we have now. It used to be that was really a devastating thing if you got caught on pit road. Now it's not good. I mean, Jimmy was leading, but he's not down a lap. He is able to come around and be on the lead lap and just really loses the track position.
So here is the restart order you see. Be Matt Kenseth alongside Clint Bowyer at the front of the pack. Where championship guys are concerned, Brad Keselowski is going to be 11th, Jimmy Johnson 21st, and Denny Hamlin 27th as we get set to go back to green. Look at Matt Kenseth with the run around the outside up into the lead.
3 wide right behind him. Paul Menard there in the middle.
Biffle just blast by him.
That 16 has been fast today.
See Paul Menard up in 4th spot. His first race back for Slugger Labby. Doing a great job for this team getting it back on track.
Crew chief has been coming back from a suspension by NASCAR for a technical violation.
How about that move by Ryan Newman?
Wow, did you see Kyle Busch have to jump on the brakes there? You could visibly see that 18 car slowing down.
You can say when it was slowing down, you can see the back wheels were sliding, look like.
See just how many of them using that apron coming down the front straightaway to get some clean air on them, making a shorter way around and making passes, making a lot of speed.
All this is from 7th place on back. Front 6 is sorted out single file. Casey Kane in that 5, continuing the trend of struggling in the first few laps after a restart. First handful of laps, really. And the further they go, then the car seems to settle in and get going.
Yeah, this time actually seems like the best that I saw. I watched him on the restart. It looked like he's been able to have a little bit more speed. That tells me they did something, maybe a packer in the front, get that splitter up off the racetrack there at the beginning.
Marcos Ambrose in the 9. Kyle Busch in the 18, racing there for the 9th and 8th positions. That little swing mid-race so far for the time being working in the favor of Clint Bowyer. And there's Jimmie Johnson. Well back in the field, racing with Trevor Bayne for 20th place. Uh-oh. Piece of ductwork or something?
Hard to tell what that was.
Yeah. Didn't seem to do any damage to the 17 car when he hit it. And we come to halfway. And Matt Kenseth is going to be your halfway leader. We check on Tony Stewart, who is back in 15th place, Vince.
Well, it's been a bit of an adventure for Tony Stewart today, trying to get that car to handle as he started 33rd. You see him up to 15th. And they also had an issue just this past time on the yellow with their right rear. Take a listen.
All right, Buck. We had a right rear going flat. We were 8 pounds down there. So made some adjustments here. See what we got.
Now, they made a 4-tire change and a wedge adjustment, but I just was talking to the tire guy on the 14. They said they actually had run over some debris under caution. It punctured the sidewall. Jimmie Johnson.
Jimmie Johnson has hit the wall in turn 4. And a race he was leading.
Stay on the racetrack if you can.
A race he was leading just moments ago through a turn of events that put him back in traffic.
Yep.
Has put him in the wall.
Get her into the garage here.
I noticed Jimmy there as we showed him it back in the pack. Looked like his car was extremely loose in that situation where he was having some difficulty in trying to make passes.
All right, guys, we're going to need a deck lid. We'll stop here in their pit. Maybe we can take a look at it.
Chad Knaus looking at
What
those
happened there,
pictures
Earl?
from us.
I just
And trying to get a look at his race car. And let's show you what happened to Jimmie Johnson, running 20th at the time.
Boy, he just swapped ends on him. And when you're back in the pack like that, I mean, your car just does not drive like it did when you were up in the first part of the field and maybe even up the lead like he was. So
yeah, and you're trying to make up some time, trying to get yourself back up there, make some passes. We saw Jimmy be very loose down in enter turn 3 yesterday.
That thing just went snapping around.
hang on, baby.
You see, he was really trying his very best to keep it out of the wall. He got back in the gas, trying to get the tire spinning enough to keep it down and not back into the wall. Wasn't able to accomplish that, though. Once again, just telling you, with this tire being so hard, and Andy, you were talking about having to run these cars on the edge, doesn't take much once it starts to get out from under you to get away from you.
And the 48 car on the pit lane now.
Just carry so much speed through the middle of the corner. They're carrying almost 180 miles an hour
You're ready to
or
roll.
better.
You're ready to roll. Go, go, go.
The slowest
go, go, go.
they're going.
Well, pit road open for the leaders. Most all of them are staying out. But the big story at this point is that car coming at you off the pit lane. Jimmie Johnson, just 7 points off the championship lead starting the day. And into the wall just past halfway today here in Kansas. He was leading the race just a little while ago. Now Chad Knaus and company have some work to do to fix that up. We go NASCAR Nonstop presented by Ram.
With 160 more miles per tank, the distances aren't getting shorter.
Anyone else? I accidentally traded for a fullback. You see that? You're not alone.
I have a coach on my roster?
Dude, out.
Discover an edge with fantasy football now, Sundays at 11 a.m. on ESPN2.
This season, Brad Keselowski knows there's nothing harder than winning. Not taking the high line at Bristol. Not doing a post-race press conference with a bunch of psychiatrists.
Brad, tell me a little bit about your mother.
Not eating a huge turkey dinner, then trying to stay awake during a foreign film. Winning is even harder than getting pepper sprayed. Then being able to unlock a magic eye poster.
It's a shark.
Yep. Brad Keselowski understands that if winning were easy, losers would do it.
Well, let's see how many laps we get under the green flag this time. Mark Martin, the race leader, choosing the outside lane. Denny Hamlin is to his inside. And Clint Boyer to his inside.
Look at Paul Menard to the high side. Put Hamlin in the middle.
We were worried about it being single file.
Oh, trouble. Trevor Bayne, Marcos Ambrose. Caution is out again.
Hold the brakes. Hold the brakes.
Come on down. A rear end damage here. Splitter damage. You'll need to take it to the garage, Tim. I can't tell. I can't see the back.
I probably should look this up before I say it out loud, but I'm wondering if there's a full moon tonight. You know how races on your Saturday night short track always go a little crazy when there's a full moon?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I don't know what the answer to this is. I mean, we expected some action. Look at this.
Looked like Ambrose just drove it down in there.
Yeah.
Made contact with Logano, and then around it goes.
It's just that situation of trying to get everything you can, and they've become kind of comfortable right now with the racetrack and the grooves that they have and the speeds that they're carrying.
Well, Jimmy Johnson, I think we said this off the air. I'm not sure we said it on the air, how he got back there, and he just better watch out ahead of him a little bit.
You see it. Outside. Good job. Still outside.
I wasn't kidding.
Yeah, he dogged.
Save gas.
No takers on pit road among the leaders. Take a break. NASCAR Nonstop presented by Ram. Mark Martin, the race leader. Don't miss our exclusive multi-part series coverage of one of the top basketball programs in the country, Kentucky All Access. Wednesdays at 7 on ESPN.
Who wants to take me down?
What car does he drive? Aric Almirola in that 43. Into the wall earlier while leading. Going back after the lead on Mark Martin. Oh, and around.
Gathered up here. Spun off of 2 guys. Looked like right front went down. Tell us about it.
We stay under the green. Almirola safely back around to the pit lane. And Mark Martin now with a little bit of a pad out in front. He was side by side with Almirola off of turn number 2.
Just once again gets loose on the exit there. You can see a great job that they did behind.
Let's see, Matt Kenseth also got a piece of the wall.
All cleared. Easy. Keep coming now.
Pretty hard hit by the 17 right there.
Have not called it. Keep going.
I'm sure that Mark Martin kept waiting for a caution because he knew that something had to happen there.
Oh, Biffle into the wall hard in the 16.
Just hold the brake here if you can. Just hold it right to the pit stall. Nice and easy. Hi, Rex. This is bad.
Running in third position, and that car just got away, and he hit the wall hard. Now already back in his pit stall.
I don't know. I just looked going straight in the wall. I don't know if he overcorrected from a loose situation off the corner. Just snapped around. Hit hard.
Yep. See it start just getting sideways then. Hard into the wall.
So one thing about this new configuration, there's not a lot of room to chase the car off the turn 4 when you get to that wall.
Easy. Hold it there. Hold it. Just hold the brake here if you can. Just hold it right to the pit stall nicely.
Cool. See how close that was for Clint Boyer.
Yeah. Greg Biffle running up near the front, got a pit road speeding penalty earlier, went all the way back to 33rd, came all the way back up front to be running 3rd at that point, and you can see the frustration on his part. He had a shot to win. So pit road going to be open here. We've had so many caution laps since all these front runners were in. Matt Kenseth probably needs to get the right side of that 17 looked at after getting into the wall, but I don't imagine we'll see a lot of takers here, Andy.
Well, they pitted with 110 laps to go, and most of them can go maybe 100 or about 55 laps. But Doc, looks like Matt's going to come in and get his car worked on.
Yeah, they talked about doing right sides only, but then Matt said, you know, go ahead and put 4 on it while you're fixing it. We might as well put the left sides on. Right now they're going to work on getting the fender pulled away right rear. Kenseth said he was watching the 43 spin and just lost it for a second, and that's when he got up in the wall. They are going to come around. Well, they're going to come around and put left sides on now. Take their time, get the right rear fender pulled away. So, Matt, we'll still have to make one more stop, by the way. You cannot make it from here on fuel. They were hoping to be able to squeeze it to lap 212 and make it, but now pulling right front and right rear fender away and left side tires going on. Guys?
All right, so eventful action after that last restart. Aric Almirola spins off turn 2, racing for the lead. He gets the free pass at this caution. Matt Kenseth also into the outside wall. He continued, now pits for repairs. We go NASCAR nonstop, presented by Ram.
Thank you. Thanks. You know what I say when a fan asks me why I use Mobil 1? WWTSD. What's that? What would Tony Stewart do? WWTSD. Oh, okay. Well, what if a fan asks you the same question? Easy. It helps with fuel economy, shaves off our lap times, gives us more horsepower. That's what I would say. My work here's done. What about WWLHD? Copycat. WWLHD. That could be good.
Champions aren't the only drivers who trust the cutting-edge technology of Mobil 1. Many champions, many fans. One oil. Mobil 1.
I love cash back.
With the Bank Americard Cash Rewards credit card,
we earn more cash back for the things we buy most.
1% cash back. Everywhere, every time.
2% on groceries.
3% on gas, automatically. No hoops to jump through, no annual fee.
That's 1% back on...
Wow. 2% on my homemade lasagna. 3% back on road trip.
Get 1, 2, 3% cash back. Apply online or at a Bank of America near you.
Monday night, while Michigan's own battles Chicago's favorite son, bitter NFC North rivals Detroit and Chicago tackled their policy differences under the lights.
That's a great catch.
This debate will be settled on the gridiron.
Stafford's a shot for Calvin Johnson downfield. Megatron got it.
Lions, Bears, 8:30 Eastern. Don't miss a minute of Monday Night Football on ESPN, the Watch ESPN app, and watchespn.com.
Is impressive, Coach.
It's the 12th man at their very best.
Hey, what's with the yell around here?
It's midnight yell practice, Coach. It's a Texas A&M tradition.
At this hour?
Hence the name Midnight Yell.
Crazy.
ESPN College Game Day, built by the Home Depot, Saturdays.
Get the largest selection of NASCAR gear, only at the NASCAR.com Superstore.
Back at Kansas Speedway, if you were expecting drama, we said earlier the yellow might be a popular color. We were not wrong. Jimmie Johnson coming into the day second in points, spun all on his own.
Yeah, all by himself, just lost it, no side force, backs that baby in the wall, but they've done some amazing repairs in this car. It's running pretty good right now. He still might be in this thing.
He's not the only driver in the chase having issues today. How about Tony Stewart?
Another one. Tony had made his way back up through the field, comes off the corner, once again, no flat tire, no nothing, just goes around on his own, loses it.
And then the reason we're under caution now, our 11th caution of the day, Greg Biffle, just a ton of a hit.
Yeah, really fast car, but just gets out from, overcorrects it, runs out of room, gets in the wall really hard.
Not exactly what we're used to seeing lately. Cautions have been coming down, except at this newly repaved track. Why are we seeing what we're seeing today?
Nicole, what's going on right now? Because of the brand new surface out there, the tires have got to be very, very hard to withstand that. The problem is, though, when you have a hard tire, it slides a lot on the asphalt. It creates a lot of heat. The right front air pressure builds, the tire gets real hot, it blows out. This is pretty common. This track needs to get wintered in with all the snow and stuff during the winter. They come back next year to be better. Goodyear needs to soften the tire for a couple of steps. Things will be much better when they come back.
Expectations for these final 88s?
I think we're going to see some more tires go down. I think we're going to see some more spins, but Clint Bowyer has been really racy up front. I'm looking at Clint Bowyer.
All right, well, I'm going to tell you what, don't count the 43 out yet. He just got the lucky dog. He's come through the field more than anybody else. Don't count him out.
Allen back to green.
Here we go. And what will it be this time? And how many laps? The slow car of Greg Biffle just in front of the race leaders as they come by at full speed. And the Biff gets out of the way. Trying to just get back up to speed after repairs to his car. Mark Martin leads. Clint Bowyer second. Denny Hamlin third. Fourth, 27 Menard trying to ease in front of Casey Kane in the 5. Ryan Newman looking for some running room around Kyle Busch. Oh, trouble. Into the walls, the 18, and more trouble. Sam Hornish collected. Newman's torn up. And the yellow flag's out again.
Fire it up, get it rolling if you can.
Points leader Keselowski just barely missed this, too. That happened right in front of Brad.
This was a race for 7th place that something funny was going on about halfway down the back straightaway with it. And continued right on around through 3 and 4. Ends up with a few torn up race cars.
And Newman gets in the back of Kyle Busch. He was already loose. Kyle was pretty much all day. But you can see just how close that was for Keselowski.
Well, he drove right in between everything that was happening.
Half back corner. Right in front of Philip.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
I agree with you. That was unbelievable. Sometimes you just got to have some luck.
Anytime you're going to try to win a championship and go on and win a championship, you have to have some good fortune. And Brad's done some terrific driving, but he's also had some good fortune. You can see that the 22 actually got into him. He got him a little bit loose before he got to the 39.
Jimmie Johnson made it through again. And an extreme toll being taken by the new Kansas Speedway. Rusty described it very well a minute ago. This racetrack is going to be terrific when the surface ages even just through a winter.
Yeah, it'll take some time. It is. The tire is hard, just like he said. This racetrack is losing some grip because of all the action throughout this entire week.
man, if we win the championship, just go ahead and save that part right there, that video clip. I hope there was an in-car camera of that. It's a minefield. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, we got it for you, Brad. Mark the tape.
I'm just flashing back to the radio we heard earlier with his spotter, Joey Meyer. Before he could even say anything, go high, go low, he just, unbelievable. Well, 83 to go. Not many takers on the pit lane. And caution out for the 12th time in this race. Some of the best in the business getting all torn up in this one today. 7th time in this race, drivers running in the top 10 have been involved in accidents at Kansas Speedway in this one.
Whether it's Kevin's smartphone, Mom's smartphone, Dad's tablet, or Lauren's smartphone, AT&T has a plan built to help make families' lives easier. Introducing AT&T Mobile Share. One plan lets you share data on up to 10 devices with unlimited talk and text. Add a tablet for only $10 per month. AT&T.
Nationwide is on your side. I've been saying that for years, but why should you believe it? Well, the Earnhardt family's been trusting Nationwide Insurance for more than 30 years.
They protected the Jarrett family for 40 years. And Nationwide Insurance puts members first because they don't have shareholders.
In fact, they've been protecting the NASCAR family of drivers, teams, and fans for more than 60 years.
Just goes to show you, this is a family business. To join the nation, call 877-NATIONWIDE. Nationwide is on your side.
Goodyear, driven by those who use the world as their proving ground. Goodyear, more driven.
Roth, and he's like a hero.
Been a hero.
Took a heroic effort.
Every day we bring to our fans the world of sports. We speak of heroes and heroism, but there are days when sports matter little and heroes matter more. These heroes don't hit walk-off homers or buzzer-beating threes. They simply made a plan for what to do when disaster strikes. You never know when you might need to be the hero, because you never know if today is the day before a natural disaster. Prepare, plan, be a hero. Visit ready.gov.
This season, Brad Keselowski knows there's nothing harder than winning. Not taking the high line at Bristol. Not doing a post-race press conference with a bunch of psychiatrists.
Brad, tell me a little bit about your mother.
Not eating a huge turkey dinner, then trying to stay awake during a foreign film. Winning is even harder than getting pepper sprayed. Then being able to unlock a magic eye poster.
It's a shark.
Yep. Brad Keselowski understands that if winning were easy, losers would do it.
Catch the exclusive unveiling of the new BCS standings. Our experts break down their top contenders in the national title race.
They've destroyed everybody in their way. They're going to score a lot of points.
BCS Countdown, tonight at 8:30 on ESPN.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Kansas is presented by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. And in part by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible.
It's going to take a lot of guts if you're going to see the glory of winning this one at Kansas Speedway today. A rough and rugged race. We're under the 12th caution and still got 81 laps to go. That's over 100 miles left in this one.
It's a huge crowd here to watch this race today, and they've certainly got their money's worth.
So before the start of the race today, word went around, and Rick Hendrick joined us to say that Dale Earnhardt Jr. had been cleared to race in Martinsville next Sunday. Now hearing that maybe there's a change to that picture, Doc?
Well, Rick walked up to me to amend what he said. And Rick, why don't you explain what's going on with Dale Jr.?
Yeah, Jerry, I didn't have all the information before the race started. Monday, he's going to be in a closed test that Dr. Petty will attend in the car. And then Tuesday, he'll have another impact test in Dr. Petty's office. And then the final decision be made. But all of so far, everything's been good. And all of the tests have been good. and this is the final step. When I got the information this past week, I was been out here, I thought we were all done, but then I found out that he was going to have a test in the car Monday, and Dr. Petty will be there. Then he'll have an evaluation Tuesday in his office, and then Dr. Petty will make that decision then, but it looks good.
So you're anticipating test okay, impact study doesn't change, he should be back in the car. You should know by Wednesday morning back in the car for Martinsville?
Yeah, I think we'll know by Tuesday afternoon, but I'm going to leave it up to Jesse Essex and the PR guys to handle it from here. But, you know, everything's been so good. We're all so optimistic. He's excited about getting back in the car, but these are the steps we have to take. And, you know, those impact tests are important. And I guess being in the car will tell him a lot. And then the test Tuesday. So we're expecting him to be cleared, but till Tuesday, we don't have that final word.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Alan?
Well, I hate for Mr. Hendrick that he had to come back around and do that, but we appreciate him clarifying the situation, and we look forward to hearing the final outcome on all of that evaluation of Dale Earnhardt Jr. this week and seeing him back in the 88 card. Martinsville next week. Regan Smith subbing in that 88 today. You see the highs and lows on him after a big scare in qualifying. He's raced up into the top 10.
Yeah, doing a solid job once again in this car.
And by the way, one of the few with a clean race car with all its fenders on it.
Don't jinx him.
I know. Dave?
Alan, Kyle Klein from the car under his own power. Kyle, describe the racing in general and then what happened between you and Newman.
Everything's just on edge. I mean, you're really slipping and sliding and fighting for as much grip as you can find out there. And so, you know, I'd come down the back straightaway. I come low a little bit and to protect the bottom just to try to make sure I could keep my line down there. I've been losing spots on the top all day. But then Newman just ran up on the back of me and got me loose, which I've been loose all day. And then he ran into the back of me and spun me out. So just impatience. I mean, there's still 80-something laps to go. I don't know what that was for or why or whatever, but I'm glad he's wrecked along with me, and he'll get another one here before the year's out.
Sorry, you're out. Kyle Busch done for the day. Alan?
All right, Dave. 79 laps to go. That's now 5 restarts that Mark Martin has managed to get away from whoever was lined up to his inside. Now left to race for second, Clint Bowyer and Paul Menard, 15 and 27.
Well, that inside's been tough to try to make a pass on. We've seen some of the best trying to make this pass and lose it. Boyer's going to slip back to third.
By the way, Marcus Ambrose, the free pass at that last caution. He's back on the lead lap. Timmy Hill has gotten a free pass, got 25 cars on the lead lap at this point. There's still a lot of racing left to go.
Just see Jimmy Johnson going by there. He's trying to make a pass on Kevin Harvick, but pretty amazed at that race car, how fast he's able to go with it, sitting just outside the top 10 right now.
Just joining us on the day, we're just shy of 300 miles into the 6th race in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Kansas Speedway repaved and with a little more banking added to it before this race. The speeds are record-breaking in qualifying. The competition has been tough today, and we're one shy of a record for most cautions ever in a Sprint Cup race here. Big stories on the day. The guys that have led the most laps, both Aric Almirola and Jimmy Johnson, both having troubles that have set them back. Johnson's coming to pit road under the green flag, then a caution coming out, which put him back in traffic. Then he spun out and hit the wall. Jimmy has continued to dig along, and he's in 12th position right now. Brad Keselowski's running in 8th. Denny Hamlin is running in 5th. And so the championship picture vulnerable with still so much racing left to go, but certainly the performance of the day, Jimmie Johnson's team for keeping this car in the hunt, running 12 after hitting the wall as hard as he did. That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, because when it happened and they saw the car, they told him to take it to the garage area. Then Chad was able to get another look at it, said, let's bring it to pit road and see what we can do with it.
Yeah, they initially called him to the garage, and he said, oh, well, let's look at it, see what we can do. And they did an incredible job, really, of fixing the car. I don't think it's up to full speed, but it's running pretty good.
Matt Kenseth taking 12th place away, kicking Jimmy back to 13th.
Another car there, Matt Kenseth, who's been into the wall also. He's led a lot of laps here. But he, in trying to dodge Eric Almirola when he was spinning just a little bit earlier, tried to make sure he was getting away, but hit the wall coming off the 2, trying to make his way back forward now.
Others that have had trouble today, Tony Stewart has spun out. He's still on the lead lap in 17th position. We've seen some guys get caught up in some of the incidents happening around them. And most have still continued on. Denny Hamlin handling problems earlier. Strategy adjustments, track position. Hamlin's now just giving up 5th position there to Kasey Kahne.
And don't count this 5 car out of this race yet. He has struggled for a big portion of this race. But I've seen him recently have this car going in the right direction. That's moving forward. We'll see what their fuel mileage is like.
And one of the other big ones, Greg Biffle, who ran so well, had a hard crash a little while earlier. He's taken his car to the garage. We check with Doc.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin, guys, last pitted on lap 137. Now, that means if you do any fuel calculations, they got to be getting very, very close. They cannot make it on one more stop, which means what they're trying to do now is go as long as they can go, absolutely to the final lap of a drop of fuel, then come in and pit and hope they get some yellow flags and maybe milk one. So they're going to have to pit probably in a handful of laps, guys.
Yeah, I was just using my calculator trying to figure out how far they could go. They would have to go 75 laps in this stint, even though we've had a lot of caution flags to make it. And I'm sure they can't do that. And I think Mark Martin's in the exact same boat.
Mark Martin leading the race at the moment, and a check of the championship picture as they run now. But again, we've got just over 100 miles to go in this race. We're just getting to the 3/4 mark. 12 caution flags. And the story on Mark Martin, the same one we were just talking about with Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, that's you see that would be 130 laps to the end of the race. If you split that up and be 65, nobody can do that. So you say, okay, they can probably go about 55 laps. That means they would have to go 75 in this segment.
Okay, then why haven't they pitted? We've had ample caution opportunities for them to get to pit road.
I can't answer that. Maybe you can, Jamie.
Well, they're not in the chase, so they're going for it. They're trying to risk everything right now. And Mark just came on the radio and said, guys, I can't shut it off anymore. He's been saving as well as he can. But the guys right now on pit road down here in his pit box putting their helmets on, getting ready.
There have been 5 yellow flags since Mark Martin came to pit road. He got the lead by staying out on one of them back at lap 157. And he's been out in front since. 5 yellow flags since then. And they haven't come to the pit lane.
And he'd have to run about 11 or 12 more laps before he makes this green flag stop to have a chance of making it to the end. I don't think he can do it.
Well,
right now, looks like Paul Menard's catching him pretty quickly, though.
When Mark does pit, another lead change. And we take an inside look and get unlimited access to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, brought to you by the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app and truly unlimited data on the Sprint Network. 13 lead changes so far today. Not a lot, but we've had a lot of action. If not the constant changing of the #1 spot, get unlimited access to NASCAR with live in-car audio and real-time stats on the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app only from Sprint. Get the app and Sprint's truly unlimited data plan at sprint.com/speed. So that 45 to 50 lap fuel window we showed you there a minute ago, there have been 23 laps of yellow since Mark Martin pitted. So that's essentially 50 laps. If you go the old 2-to-1 formula, which may even be selling them short the way these guys shut the cars off and so on these days.
Yeah, about 2-to-1 is what you can expect, even saving as much as you can shutting the car off. So that'd give you another, what, 12 laps onto that? Yep. It's still going to make it awfully tough. They'd almost have to make up 20 laps of that. I just don't think they can do it. At least the 55 of Mark Martin and 11 of Denny Hamlin.
Hearing from pit road that Denny Hamlin is 6 laps from pitting. And the other aspect on that is as we see Hamlin come by here racing Regan Smith for 6th and 7th. With the frequency of yellow flags today, it's unlikely to expect this race to run green from here to the finish, right?
That's what I'm thinking. I just don't know how we can do that. We haven't seen it happen, and especially we've had a couple tire issues. We haven't seen a long run since we saw the last one. So I'm not sure what we'll see here as far as green flag and what you can expect. That's why you're seeing Denny Hamlin and Mark Martin go as far as they can here, hoping to get another caution.
And on a day where it's been overcast for much of the day, all of a sudden the sun started to pop out here in Kansas City, Kansas. That'll change the handling conditions also.
Yeah, like they needed something else to get in their head or under their tires.
Yeah. So there are your top 5, 6, 7, and 8. With 62 laps to go. And we look down on the race leader Mark Martin from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. From pit lane to victory lane, every driver counts on Goodyear tires. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Mark Martin, Paul Menard, Clint Bowyer, your top 3. So expecting to see this 55 car on the pit lane sometime within the next handful of laps.
There's any way he can make 5 more, he could possibly make it to the end.
You know, it's funny because watching Denny Hamlin, I'm curious how much of his lap time here is lack of performance in the car and how much he might be backing off, saving him some fuel.
Now, I'm sure they're looking at this and they could just possibly stretch this. I'll tell you, I'll be surprised if they can, but I've seen some stranger things this year.
As they hand out the window, signaling the drivers behind him. So look for Denny Hamlin to slow right here.
Woo. Martin Truex almost didn't see that.
Yeah. 59 laps to go, Doc.
Denny Hamlin has gone 71 laps. So you heard all those caution laps Alan was talking about. They'll have to go 58 from here on out. 58.5 laps. So they think they can do it with very few caution laps. Because Denny does such a great job saving fuel. 4 tires. Wait on fuel. He got his full. He's on the way. Now he'll try to roll the dice and make it all the way to the checkered flag.
See, Mark Martin's still out there. He pitted the same time that Denny Hamlin did. We saw this team with Clint Bowyer win a race last week on fuel mileage. We know they get good mileage. Jamie, when are we going to see Mark Martin?
And they have the wheelman behind the wheel who saved a lot of fuel. Now, the guys have had their helmets on for a while. Rodney Childers, crew chief, just said 4 laps. That was about 3.5 laps ago. So look for him to make his way down shortly.
All right.
So what you're telling me, it doesn't matter if we have 3 cautions in a race or if we have double-digit cautions, it still comes down to fuel mileage in these races.
And I'll tell you, if Mark Martin can make it back around to his pit stall, I think he can make it from here on that pit stop. So we'll see.
Casey Kane by Clint Bowyer for 3rd position, Vince.
Since the first 2 pit stops when they had to make chassis adjustments on that car because it kept banging on the splitter, they have not touched the chassis on this 5 car. It has just gotten better and better. Casey says it's a little loose on takeoff, but once this thing gets going, it's been a rocket. They can make it on just 1 more stop, as most of these others can. As you see, Mark Martin has hit pit road. Jamie Little?
And they decided to bring him down a little bit early. It's going to be 4 tires. Rodney Childers asked this driver, do you want scuffs or stickers? It looks like they have stickers on the wall they're going to go with. It's going to be nice and smooth. See what he can make out of this race from here on out.
Very important not to get busted for speeding on pit road on the exit.
Turn your wheel. go, 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 go. All the way, all the way.
Trouble, turn 4. Car hard on the wall. Aric Almirola.
Hey up there, bud. Let's go ahead and stop. Looks like the fire's out. Go ahead and get out. Go ahead and get out. Just stay
Caution
close to the
out
car.
just after Denny Hamlin and Mark Martin pit.
This is one of the cars that hit the wall earlier with a right front tire. I don't know what happened here. He looks like he's done now, though.
He was running 13th at the time. Boy, what a day. Oh.
Well, there's some bad feelings as a driver in a race car, but not much worse than that. Throttle hanging and blowing a right front tire when you're wide open in the throttle doesn't get much worse. Really good to see this young man out of the car. Just unfortunate. What a fast race car he had all day.
Yeah, you can see getting the window net down while he's got some fire. He's reacting pretty quickly to that fire under the hood. Just to be ready to get out.
Almirola's led the most laps today. He had a right front down and got into the wall while leading back at lap 122. He spun out, racing Mark Martin for the lead. A spin that didn't bring a caution flag out. And now this, after getting back onto the lead lap and a hard crash. The pit road is closed. They are bringing the field down the pit lane to allow the safety workers to clean up the big mess that crash has left in turn 4 with all the liquid running down from the machine where it came to rest. And so no one supposed to stop in their pit box as they come down the pit lane here. And now really this takes fuel to the finish out of the question for everybody with the timing of this caution flag.
Yeah, most everybody can go from here. And you saw those 2 cars that pitted under green. They're going to be a lap down. They'll be able to take a wave around when all the cars pit.
And it should help them on their issues if they were close enough. They should be able to get their fuel. Their biggest problem is having to come from so far back now.
Mark Martin is going to get the free pass on the caution as the first car a lap down. Denny Hamlin, the second car a lap down, will have to take the wave around. So that means that Hamlin can't pit under this yellow. And the new Kansas Speedway has set a record for most cautions at this track and most cautions this season. We have just equaled the mark. It has been a tough day for a lot of these drivers and teams. Like that one.
That was a fast car today, though. Even after he hit the wall the first time, he was up front going for the lead at one point.
Well, for all of these drivers and teams, anytime you go to a newly surfaced racetrack, speeds will be up and it'll be dicey on grip, and we have seen, as is not uncommon at new racetracks, sometimes some problems at that right front. Fortunately, everyone is okay. All of the drivers involved in those incidents, and Dave Burns has more from the pit lane.
Well, and I checked with Goodyear. A couple comments first. Rusty pointed out earlier the greasy conditions. We talked to Kyle after his wreck. Extremely slick out there. And so I checked with Goodyear just to see if there was any pattern they were seeing with their tires. At this point, no. They're seeing a lot of cuts in the tires, regardless of which accident, what time, what caution. Lots of cuts in the tires. So a lot of debris out there, guys running over a lot of stuff. And so far, that's the only pattern that they're seeing. Vince?
Talking about tire wear and Kenny Francis in the 5-car of Casey Kane. I think you guys have changed the lefts just once today. Have you noticed any issues at all with the wear and all the debris that we've had on the track?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to change just rights here, too, to try to stay up front. But everybody's going to need all the gas they can get. But, you know, you can do it just a little bit faster, changing rights only. So And hopefully we can have a good pit stop here and make it to the end.
Well, you tweaked on the chassis the first couple of stops, so it seems like you've got a pretty good race car. What do you feel like Casey's got in his hands right now?
Yeah, it's been handling a lot better the second half of the race. We're just not sure, you know, what 2 tires are going to do to it, but hopefully it'll be good.
Thanks, Kenny. Alan?
So the thoughts of Kenny Francis there on the tires, the strategy, and so on that's left to see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think we've seen these left side tires be very durable all day long. And I don't think it's a problem that Goodyear has with the right side tires. I think it's the teams that are doing things that create problems with those right front tires in these type of situations in trying to make their cars do the things that they want to do.
Well, we just talked about new surfaces. You really lose a lot of margin on that tire. Goodyear can build a lot of margin into these things in a lot of tracks, but when you come to one of these, it's really difficult to do that. And so the margin's very thin. You got teams out there that are doing everything they can to run fast, and sometimes they'll lean on that one corner of the car, and it can cause a problem.
Now, I want to point out the wave around on the free pass and so on for Mark Martin and Denny Hamlin. Yes, it's going to get them back on the lead lap, but had things stayed green and the stops all cycled through, they were running up in front. Mark was the leader when he pitted. Now, because of this, they're going to start at the back end of the lead lap cars, and this caution just after they made the green flag pit stops has really cost them a lot of track position.
Yeah, it did. It was very untimely, but it's not something unexpected. I think that a lot of people expected to see another caution in that segment, but they had to pit. They were at the very end of their fuel tank. They didn't have a choice.
Yeah, there's going to be 22 cars ahead of them at the very least, probably a little more than that. But you know, Mark Martin will be able to come down pit road and put on more tires if he wants to do that. Make sure that he's got plenty of fuel just in case of a green-white checkered situation. Denny Hamlin will not have that option to take the wave around. He's just going to have to stay out and save the fuel that he has.
Pit stops with 49 laps to go, Doc.
Paul Menard in, Clint Boyer in. They're both going to go 2 tires, and they're both said we're going to go 2 cans of gas. Wait on the crew chief. Wait, wait, wait. Right side tires going on, and they're going to drop them. Let's go down today.
Brad Keselowski gives up 6th position. He will take on 4. They'll get the fuel in it. Regan Smith only taking 2. Vince?
Casey Kane, bottom right of your screen. You heard Kenny Francis say they were going to take right sides only. He reminded the fueler, got a packet full of fuel. A little bit of trouble on the right front. Kane is not yet left the box, having some issues, and the 17 of Kenseth was the first one off.
And Brad Keselowski getting the 4 tires. A little play it safe in championship mode there.
Yeah, it looks like it, but it's going to cost him a lot of track position.
He was 6th entering pit road. We'll see where he winds up after the scoring cycles around off this set of pit stops. So Matt Kenseth first off the pit lane as we work the yellow flag, the 13th yellow of today's race, and still got 49 laps to go. The latest caution flag after a very hard crash for Aric Almirola, who's with Jamie.
Yes, what a day it's been. Led 69 laps, more than you led in your entire career, and you were still fast after contact. What happened there, and are you okay?
Yeah, we just blew another right front. It was a big hit. I lost my breath there for a minute, so I had to collect my thoughts. But just disappointed. I have never in my entire life had a race car that good. It was so fast and so easy to drive. All the guys on this farmland, Ford Fusion, did a great job. And we just had a really great race car, and we were here in Farmland's headquarters. We were going to try really hard to make them double their money to Harvester's Food Bank, make them give $100 grand to Harvester's Food Bank if we won, and we were unable to do that, but not for lack of effort. All the guys worked really hard all weekend. We had a spectacular car, and I hate that it ends like this, but I've always been told you got to give a few away before you can win one, and I feel like we certainly gave one away today.
Well, you had a lot to be happy about through today, Alan.
Jamie, thanks. A very fast race car, and came back from a couple of different instances of trouble, but then a really hard crash, and it's great to see him standing there and okay. Aric Almirola out of it now.
Mark Martin now making that pit stop. After he gets back on the lead lap, he can get the fuel tank top back off. It looks like they may be just checking to see if they've got any tire rubs. They're going to start at the back of the field, but they will have a full tank of gas. No problem making it to the end, which I don't think anybody will. I think from here everybody can make it on fuel. The big question is going to be, are we going to see a green flag run to the finish?
Yeah, that's the big question. Haven't had a ton of that so far today. While we work the yellow flag, a reminder, the Big O Tires NHRA Nationals qualifying can be seen next weekend, 1:30 a.m. Saturday on ESPN2, and we'll have the final eliminations for you from Vegas, 8 Eastern Time next Sunday on ESPN2. And the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues from the Paperclip, Martinsville, next Sunday, ESPN, 1 Eastern Time. The April race there, Jeff Gordon led on a late restart. Clint Boyer went 3 wide on him. Gordon got bumped and knocked around. His whole season might have looked differently. Ryan Newman won the race. Who knows what's going to happen in the final laps next Sunday. Hope you're with us in Martinsville.
Well, it should be exciting once again. Jimmy Johnson down pit road.
So you guys, the damage earlier did prevent them from fueling as efficiently as they would want to. So they came back in just to make sure, absolute sure they've got it full of fuel, put 2 left side tires on. They did adjust it for entry into the corners. Jimmy said, please help me a little bit. It's a little free in without taking away the turn in the middle. That's always a dicey move there, Andy.
Yeah, that's always one of the hard things to do is make it turn while you keep it tight.
Race drivers just want it all.
Yeah, they want everything. Oh, yeah, wow, we got a deck lid. It's just taped on the back.
Yeah. But just joining us, Jimmy Johnson involved in a little turn of events earlier. He was leading, came to pit road for a green flag stop. Caution came out, put him back in the pack, lost control of the car, hit the wall. They've continued to repair things. And Johnson right now is on the lead lap in 23rd place among his fans watching. Angie Harmon on Twitter. And I agree, that pit crew has done an outstanding job getting that car.
They certainly have.
As squared away as it can be. A lot of cleanup still being done down in turn 4. It gives us a chance to check in with our in-race reporter, Clint Boyer, showing in 5th right now, DJ.
Hey, Clint, Dale Jarrett again. You there?
Yeah, I got you.
I was trying to think of exactly what I'm going to ask, but just your impressions on this day so far.
She's been a wild one, hasn't she? No, I think I see some raindrops. How about that? We haven't seen that yet today. About the only thing we haven't seen.
We have seen a lot, but looks like you've got a race car capable of winning this race. Am I correct on that?
Well, I think we this bottom line on the restarts keeps killing us, but we'll just keep hanging in there and being smart. Hopefully we'll prevail at the end of this thing.
Okay, Clint. Thanks for talking. Good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, so as they double up for the restart, you see Clint Boyer there on the inside of row 3 in 5th position. Things a little chaotic and congested exiting from the pit lane at the end of those last stops.
Dang it. I feel like he could have got somebody. Maybe got a few cars more than they were able to win off the pit road.
All right, let's set it up. 25 cars on the lead lap. Free pass was Mark Martin. Denny Hamlin and Sam Hornets Jr. took waiver rounds. They're 24th and 25th. Brad Keselowski, by taking the 4 tires on the pit stop, gave up 6th position. He'll restart in 13th here. And the leader will be Matt Kenseth with Tony Stewart, who had a wrench left in the car, leaving pit road earlier in the race. At one point, said to his crew, you need to get your heads out of back in the game. And now is up there side by side with Matt Kenseth to race for the lead.
Yeah, also spun out coming off of turn 2 over there. Flattened all the tires, but made it back and didn't tear anything up. Here he is trying to win the race.
45 laps to go.
Kurt Busch, he's trying to make that move again down on the apron. Clint Boyer having none of it.
Boyer to block. And Kenseth clears. Paul Menard trying to make up some ground, lost on the pit stop. Roaring around the outside of turn 2 with that neon car number 27.
He led 110 laps in trying to win the nationwide race yesterday. Ran out of fuel at the end trying to do it.
You see Stewart sliding around, losing some of the ground made up on pit road. Martin Truex Jr. in the 56 trying to get by Tony there for 5th.
I know Tony and his team was trying to get some track position, think that would make it really help them, but their car has had handling issues all day, just putting fuel in there. We'll see how that works out for them.
Jeff Gordon for 24, Carl Edwards 99. That's 8th and 9th. Haven't called Carl's number, I don't think, at all today.
No, he looked like, and I really thought from practice yesterday he was going to have a solid day, but just hasn't been there. Right around that 10th position, back to 14th or so.
You see all the cars coming off turn 4 through all that speedy drive. They cleaned it all up. There's some residue still left up there. We see some dust. That shouldn't be any problem for all the cars coming off of that corner. Doesn't look very safe, though, but it is.
By the way, we heard from Kyle Busch earlier after his incident with Ryan Newman. Newman is back on the track in a repaired number 39. He's 37 laps down in 28th place. So Matt Kenseth, who got into the wall off of turn 2 earlier while running up front, when an incident happened around him, wrinkled up the right side of that 17 car. Now he's back in the number 1 spot, and here's a challenge for second. Kasey Kahne on the move.
Yeah, I think that said earlier, going to have to deal with this 5 car before the end of this race. He's really making that groove right there work, and this is where Kasey Kahne likes to run most of the time, keeping momentum up to second now.
That was Ryan Newman's car that they went by, the slower car on the apron. Newman off the racetrack and now turning back into the garage.
I'm seeing Mark Martin's car be really slow down the front straightaway. Denny Hamlin caught him quite a bit as they went down through there and passed him off a 2.
Here's Keselowski trying to get 10th spot on Joey Logano, championship leader. Right now running ahead of his closest rivals for the title on the track. All except for Clint Bowyer, I should say.
Still could be a nice game for Brad Keselowski. This hasn't been their best day, but you can make the most of it, come out of here with a bigger lead than what you had going in. Be a pretty good, solid day, Dave.
And DJ, they knew it was going to be another fuel mileage exercise. I talked to Paul Wolf, the crew chief, this morning. Asked him if they made any changes after running Brad out last week at Charlotte at one point. He said, no, it was a matter of the weather getting cold on us and consuming more fuel than we had expected. So he didn't feel like they needed to change anything in their philosophy or their calculations, and they'd be good to go for another run. So, as you might expect, they're good to go till the end of this race.
All right, Dave. Certainly there have been a lot of obstacles for all the championship contenders to dodge in this one. And so far, Brad's been pretty successful at dodging them so far. They had one earlier where 2 cars crashed in front of him off turn 4, and he split them and managed to get through untouched. Regan Smith making the most of his drive today at Kansas. In for Dale Jr. in the 88 Hendrick car. That's 3rd place he's trying to get.
Yeah, you heard Dale Jr. is going to want this car back next week, so he wants to see what he can do with it.
Well, he's doing a great job with it, that's for sure. If he hadn't opened people's eyes before, days like today, he certainly will.
From 39th to 4th at the moment, Dave, for this 88 car.
Yeah, but you described it earlier, Alan, a very loose race car. Concerns about them running the final few laps without stopping again for fuel. There are none. Crew chief wants him to go.
Mentioned a little bit ago, Mark Martin getting bypassed by Denny Hamlin and a few others. His 55 car looks like he's down on power.
Yeah, it looked like that, but now I've seen the last few laps that the car seems to maybe come back. So I don't know if that could have been a battery or something like that.
Yep, the motor's down on the cylinder.
Yeah, Mark's definitely got a problem. It seems like it's come back. The speed has come back a little.
So Mark Martin leading this race a little while ago, made a pit stop from the lead. Then the caution came out. Got the free pass, got back on the lead lap, but does not look to be in shape to make any progress toward the front. There are Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin.
Now, I just saw Denny Hamlin get passed by Jimmy Johnson. I'm not sure that Denny Hamlin's not pedaling his car a little bit because he was not able to make a pit stop. He made that green flag stop and has quite a few laps to go to make it on that tank. I think he has to be. He's one of the few cars, if not the only car, that has to be in fuel conservation right now.
things go in this 11 as they look to try and make it to the finish. And again, with the frequency of the caution flags today, it would surprise no one if we see another yellow flag. Oh, there it is, right there. 22 car, caution. Sam Hornish Jr.
Right side here, guys, right side, see blue tire.
You can see the damage he already had from an earlier incident.
Yeah, I'm sure this tire failure probably from a tire rub. You can see that right front destroyed. The fender. They taped it up.
Sam running 24th. He had just taken a wave around at that last caution to come back onto the lead lap. He had
garage.
Boy. Oh.
Just glad we have these safer barriers these days for these wrong tires. Still a hard impact for these drivers, but much safer issue for them.
Sam had some damage when he was collected in an incident earlier.
Yeah, Ryan Newman and Kyle Busch got together, and he got into the back of Newman then, trying to avoid it.
Caused all that damage. Well, caused the earlier damage on the right front of the car. Now, obviously, a whole lot more.
Andy, you were just talking about Denny Hamlin pedaling that. Now that he's in this situation, does he come get some tires, put fuel in this?
Oh, absolutely. I think he comes in now and gets tires and fuel. He's not going to give up many spots either. He's 18th. If he comes in, I think everybody else behind him probably will too. I think it's pretty much a no-brainer for him to come in. I kind of wonder what's going on with Mark Martin, though. He's sitting there 20th. Not sure what was wrong with his car.
Pit road open here. Sure looks like Hamlin's crew's ready to go to work, huh? Sure looks like Truex's crew is not. David Reagan free pass on the yellow flag. That'll give us 25 cars on the lead lap. And we will see if we have any takers here on the pit lane. Denny Hamlin's going to be the one. Mark Martin also. And now a couple in front of them. McMurray and Montoya. And indeed Hamlin in, Doc.
And you guys are exactly on it, Andy. Nothing to lose by coming in now. They're going to be really, really close on fuel. They're going to go ahead and put 4 tires on it and try to free him up just a little bit here. Right rear chassis adjustment. Left side tires going on. Still got to get it full of fuel because they worry about green, white, checkered. With everything that's happened today, they can run a bunch of extra laps here before the checkered wave. He's away.
I see Mark Martin's car team going under the hood of the car, trying to find out what the problem was.
14th caution out in Kansas. Keep an eye on this situation in NASCAR Nonstop, presented by Ram.
With 160 more miles per tank, the distances aren't getting shorter. The trucks are going farther. The new 2013 Ram 1500. With the best-in-class fuel economy, engineered to move heaven and earth. Guts, glory, Ram.
New Pink Lemonade 5-Hour Energy? 5-Hour Energy supports the Avon Foundation for Women Breast Cancer Crusade. So I can get the energized feeling I need and support a great cause? I'm sold.
Pink Lemonade 5-Hour Energy.
Yeah, and a portion of every sale goes to the Avon Foundation for Women Breast Cancer Crusade.
I'm sold.
New Pink Lemonade 5-Hour Energy. Get the alert, energized feeling you need and support breast cancer research and access to care. Goodyear, driven by those who use the world as their proving ground. And everything we've learned making these tires inspires what we roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven.
This new phone is amazing. I'm watching Natalie's ballet recital, and I'm pulling photos right from the video.
Great idea. We can pick one and frame it.
Here, watch this. She nails almost every move.
Her old camera could never do this. She's so good at ballet.
I think she's the best in the class. Where is she, by the way?
In timeout.
Oh, in that one?
Ooh.
Take a photo straight from video and never miss a moment. The HTC One X from AT&T, now $99.99. AT&T, rethink possible.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Coming to the restart with what'll be 28 laps to go. And Matt Kenseth with Paul Menard to his inside for the restart. Kasey Kahne now back in 6th position. Lost some spots under the caution flag. More on that in a minute. And now losing a spot off turn 4. Kahne tried to charge, make up a little ground on the restart, but Tony Stewart aggressive since they waved this green flag.
Yeah, Smoke went to the apron, picked up a few spots there.
I think he can be aggressive, but he can't hold off this 5 car. He's too fast. He's giving it a go, though.
So Stewart to 4th, Kahne to 5th with Bowyer and Smith right behind him. I mentioned Kahne losing some positions under the caution flag. He was running 2nd at the yellow. And as Vince Welch reported to us from pit road during the commercial break, he was shutting the car off to save fuel, had trouble getting the car to reignite right away. And NASCAR has a rule about maintaining pace. By the time he got it to refire, 4 other cars had passed him, and he found himself back in 6th. And now he's trying to make some of those spots up.
It's just another huge mistake by this race team, and I know that what he was trying to do, it seemed like they would have had plenty of fuel, but in an effort, in case, I guess, a green-white checker, just nothing's gone right in this chase, really, for this 5 team.
There are a lot of teams today that they could say nothing's gone right for them. And a lot of teams that have had to overcome troubles during the course of this race to be in contention to win. Kahne's would certainly be one of those. The car very ill handling earlier in the race. And then after they got that straightened out, this latest problem that's left him some ground to make up.
That sucks that did that. I'm done saving fuel.
10-4. We need to fix this. Like, sorry about that, man. It ain't your fault.
Okay, we'll do it from here.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating. You shut the car off trying to save fuel. You don't really need to. They're just doing it for insurance. And then finally now they're saying, okay, just no more of that. Can't afford to lose any more spots, especially in the caution.
Well, the way this thing has gone today, certainly reasonable to expect we might go a little overtime in this one.
Yeah, see Martin Truex there in 2nd. Could this be a little redemption? He looked like, after dominating the race here back in April, that he was going to get a victory for this team. Got himself in a position to make up for that and go to victory lane here today.
Led 173 laps in the April race. Passed by Denny Hamlin with 31 to go. And had to settle for 2nd. Said that race broke our hearts.
He's got some making up to do, though, because right now, Matt Kenseth has set sail. I guess nobody told him that everybody else at Leeds had problems and hit the wall or something, but he doesn't seem to be concerned with that right now.
Nope. So there's your leader, Matt Kenseth. Truex, Menard, Stewart, Kahne, the top 5. Bowyer, Smith, Gordon through 8th. And then Brad Keselowski running in 9th. Kevin Harvick 10th. Jimmy Johnson running in the 11th position. Behind Johnson, Kurt Busch, Marcos Ambrose, and then Denny Hamlin. Stories on the day, the crash for Johnson earlier when he got trapped by making a green flag pit stop, and then the yellow came out. He was back in traffic. He spun out. He hit the wall. And he's come back from that. That was back at lap 135 when Johnson hit the wall running in 20th. He's worked his way back. Denny Hamlin, same, getting trapped just after making a green flag pit stop. Instead of the cycle of stops working through and him being somewhere up in the top 6 or 7, he was way back in 23rd position for the restart. Check at 24th position after having to take a wave around, and he's got some ground to make up.
How about Jimmie Johnson coming now, getting his car back in the top 10, one spot behind points leader Brad Keselowski right now. It's just incredible what they've done to this car and the drive that Jimmie has in getting back into the top 10 when it looked like they were going to be relegated to a finish certainly outside the top 20.
I think he's fast enough to actually go and drive by Brad Keselowski. He's been a couple tenths quicker here in this run.
Now, for all they've been through today, our Goodyear Superior performer, Jimmie Johnson and his team. What an effort. If they win this championship, this will be a day to write down and make note of.
Yeah, they were talking about having to come in. They were going to need a deck lid for it and all kinds of things. I really didn't think they were going to be able to fuel this car, anything else. But, Dave, they made the repairs and got him in the top 10 now.
The rolling roll of tape speeds on, and Jimmie Johnson is able to control it. That fuel question shouldn't be a problem. Remember, they came in and packed it full of fuel at the very end. But it was interesting talking to Chad Knaus this morning. We thought it was going to be a hot and sunny day versus the days we had previous. So we talked about the unknown, the unexpected. I said, you like that kind of challenge? He goes, yeah, and I think our team really responds well. Well, guess what? They've been challenged today, and they've come through.
Yes and yes. They have been challenged, and they have come through.
Well, I think they'll probably look at it in two ways. They're going to have missed an opportunity to take this points lead away with a fast race car from the two, but they also have avoided disaster in the same day.
There are the championship standings, basically identical first to second as they were to start the day, with Keselowski running in 9th position, Jimmie running in 10th. Jimmie has led today, Brad has not. So the bonus point to Johnson for leading a lap. Just thinking back how after the end of the Charlotte race last week, when Keselowski and his group really gave away points for the first time in this championship, and the kind of the swagger or the confidence that they've had going through this for the first time, if that would change any. Certainly doesn't seem to have. Brad said he looked forward to coming here and showing everybody what they're really all about as a team. And then Jimmie saying, you know, it's been a really competitive chase, and I'm having a lot of fun racing the 11 and 2, and I'm really looking forward to pouring the pressure on now. There's Jimmie here on Friday.
I was wondering how much Brad was going to put up with the blocking that the 24 did down the back straightaway, but he kept his head about him, and now you can see Jimmie's going to make the pass on Gordon, it looks like, but Brad just decided to go ahead and pass him, and it looks like Gordon's starting to struggle a little bit right now.
All this going on well behind Matt Kenseth, the race leader, who's opened up a 2-second advantage on second place, Martin Truex Jr. There isn't anyone in this field that's had a trouble-free day, I don't think, so far today, including the man who's got that healthy lead right now, Matt Kenseth. Tony Stewart, Casey Kane, swapping 4th and 5th positions. Tony overcoming a pit penalty earlier for leaving with an adjustment wrench still in the back windshield of that car. A spin out off turn number 2 where somehow he didn't hit anything.
Casey Kane last lap was the quickest car on the track. Actually, it was about a tenth of a second quicker than the leader.
And if you weren't with us earlier in the race on that 5 car, the first 10 laps after a restart, that 5 car just was so ill handling, Casey would give up spots and then spend the rest of the run trying to make up what he'd given up. Jimmie Johnson around Jeff Gordon. That's 9th position for Johnson. As we work now to the final 10 laps of this race. Kurt Busch just scraped the wall in the 78.
He may have a power down.
And is this going to leave anything behind it? frustrating day. And there have been many here today. There's a 78.
It looked like just one of those where the tire was going down, didn't really blow out. You can see the right front is down on it though, but unfortunate for Kurt and his race team.
So Matt Kenseth. See the Band-Aids hanging off the back bumper of that 17 car. It was earlier when Matt Kenseth got into the outside wall. Back at lap number 173, Aric Almirola spun in front of him, racing for the lead. In the jam-up, Matt got into the outside wall with the right side of that car. He had to give up a lot of track position, pitting under a subsequent caution at lap 177, and went all the way to 24th place.
Just still amazed at how durable these race cars can be. I mean, that was a hard hit that Matt Kenseth did coming off. He was full throttle off of turn 2. Slammed the right side. We saw Aric Almirola earlier after hitting the wall, so cars were really tough. But Matt Kenseth and this race team, who could have just, you know, they're out of the chase, basically, or out of the chance for a chance to win the championship, but have continued to work hard and got Matt out front.
Martin Truex Jr. not a factor at the very front of the pack for a lot of the day, but now late in the race has worked his way up to second. If he gets another caution, maybe he'll have a shot at the one that got away from him back in April here. 6 laps to go.
We expected to see a ton of torn up sheet metal next week at Martinsville. I don't know if we expected to see what we saw today.
That gap from first to second has shrunk a little bit here in these last several laps. As you look at Paul Menard, very solid today in third.
Yeah, Slugger Labbe making his comeback today on top of the box after the suspension, and it looks like it's made a big difference with the team. Having a solid run today.
And he's got a fast closing Casey Kane coming at him right now.
Here's the story on Casey on the day. And again, the really big story, he had just gotten to second place at that last caution. And the hiccup trying to get the car refired after shutting it down to save fuel. It dropped him back to 6th.
Yeah, don't know if he would have had anything for Kenseth, but that certainly took any opportunity that he had in trying to work his way up there and see if he could battle Matt Kenseth.
I think they'll look back on that and think that they let one get away, because he has been solidly the fastest car on the track, probably the last 7 or 8, 10 laps. If he hadn't given up those spots, he'd be working on Matt Kenseth right now.
Well, certainly the conversation around Matt Kenseth entering the championship was whether a driver and team going their separate ways at the end of the championship could keep it together enough. The information would continue to flow to compete for the title. Really, it hasn't been about their competitiveness or that information flow. It's been about luck and circumstance that have taken Kenseth out of the opportunity to run for the title. That 35th place finish at Dover really dropped them way back. Dover, one of his better tracks. They came back the next week to win at Talladega, but some 67 points behind starting the day. It was going to be too far and too much for Kenseth to overcome. That said, if this holds out for another 2 laps, they're going to have won 2 of these races in the chase. And I know for some of the guys inside Roush Fenway Racing, particularly Robbie Reiser, it really gets under their skin when people talked about the lame duck and would they continue to give Matt their all.
Well, Matt's been a favorite over there. He's a really good people person. He cares about the organization, and he's just a tremendous competitor, and you can see that happening.
And the white flag is up. We're in the last lap today at Kansas. A race that's featured 14 cautions. A very tough toll on car and driver. Many rallies on the day, including this 17 from as far as 24th in the pack. Final corners here for Matt. Checkered flag is up.
Here's the checkers.
3rd win of the season, 2nd of the chase. Matt Kenseth wins at Kansas.
Up, guys, way to go. Great
Brad Keselowski finishes 8th, Jimmie Johnson 9th, Denny Hamlin 13th. As we wrap up the 6th race in the chase and head to Martinsville with 4 to go, it'll be 7 points between Keselowski and Johnson. Denny Hamlin losing a little ground today.
Yeah, Clint Bowyer with another solid effort. 6th. I know he wanted to do better than that in his home state.
Thanks a lot, you guys.
But Bowyer's only going to be 25 back.
You guys are awesome. I appreciate it.
Yeah, he does do a great job. But I'm so impressed with Jimmie Johnson's team and how they kept him in this without losing a ton of points. So they keep him in the championship chase, and it's 4 to go. Never gets old, does it, Dale?
Never gets old. I don't care how many times you do it. You never know when that last one's going to be there, so enjoy it whenever it happens. I think he's got a lot more coming, but...
That's a saying Mark Martin always said. He always enjoyed every win because you never know when the next one's coming.
So, a race that took a lot longer than normal here at Kansas today because of 14 caution flags. And now leaves us 4 races to go to decide who'll be the champion this year. Next week, Martinsville, the final short track race of the season. Then Texas, Phoenix, and the finale in Homestead, Miami. Join us at the track. NASCAR.com/tickets. Never know what you're going to see. Who'd have thought this one would have played out the way it did?
Not me.
At Martinsville, anything can happen.
Yes, sir.
And that car finished in the top 10.
Yeah. Yep. Your championship leader there, Keselowski, probably had one of the cleaner races on the day and came up with 8th place money. While we wait for Kenseth to get around to victory lane, let's talk to some of the finishers, the top finishers today. Vince?
Kasey Kahne finishes 4th, but I know it's got to be frustrating. You were sitting 2nd during that yellow. You turned the car off to save some fuel. And what happened? It just wouldn't refire?
Yeah, it just wouldn't refire. Disappointing, but we got through there. We had a good car. We came back to 4th, and we passed a lot of cars today with our Farmers Insurance Chevrolet. The team did an awesome job. Great pit stops, great pit calls. I mean, this was a lot of tire and fuel strategy race throughout, and our guys did a really nice job. So I had an awesome car. I was a little loose there taking off. It was coming to me. We were getting really good there at the end, and just weren't close enough at that point in time, but still a solid day.
Fast indeed. 4th for Kasey today. Dave?
And Jimmie Johnson looking over the back of his car now with his crew. They're talking about what happened today. How in the world did you drive this thing back to a top 10 finish, Jimmy?
I had to get a look at it here. It's pretty tore up. Definitely proud of this team and the fact that we never give up and we'll continue to fight and try to get every point that we can. I think yesterday's nationwide race showed that this thing isn't over until the checker flag falls on any given Sunday. So all that said, I'm very proud, but also disappointed. I crashed the car, spun out trying to get inside the 56. He bobbled a little in front of me, and I thought that was an opportunity to jump in the gas real hard. And when I did that, my car took off, and I couldn't catch it. So all in all, good day, but could have been a lot better. I think we could be in victory lane and stretched some points on these guys.
Great recovery. Hey, next week they're going to a place where they've been to victory lane a lot. Martinsville coming up, Alan.
Dave, thanks. And again, I mentioned it earlier, but a look for you at those championship standings with 4 races to go. Played to a draw today between Keselowski and Johnson.
Boy, it was a really tough day, though. It was one of those races you just try to survive. We saw a lot of close, hard racing and a lot of fast cars.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin had a tough week here. Comes out of here 20 points back, but going to a racetrack where he's done awfully well at too in Martinsville.
Hamlin losing 5 points today. Clint Bowyer gaining 3 as we head on to Martinsville next week. Jamie?
Brad Keselowski, of course, checking out the points, got out of the car, big sigh of relief. What was that race like from your perspective? You guys were back, you were forward, mixed up the strategy.
I don't even know how to explain it. I'm ready to go home and have a couple beers. It's just a long day, and everybody's been asking all season long where the caution's been. Well, they're using the answer. They flew to Kansas. They've been hanging out here because there was caution after caution, and it seemed like every wreck that happened today happened right in front of me. So glad to survive the carnage and brought back a decent car with Miller Lite Dodges in, okay shape, and dodged a bullet of a race. That's the only thing I can use to describe it, but just a tough day.
All right, great day for Brad Keselowski. Brings it home 8th, Alan.
All right, Jamie, and meanwhile in Victory Lane, Matt Kenseth is there ready to celebrate. We go to Victory Lane, presented by Tire Rack.
Matt Kenseth getting ready to climb out here, and folks, listen in. This crew loves their driver. "95 laps ago, he was on pit road getting the fenders pulled out. He began to apologize and apologized all the way to the checkered flag. And they said, you don't need to apologize anymore. Matt, 14 years at this race team, and in a few weeks you're going to be gone. What does this mean to you? These guys obviously care so much about you."
Yeah, I mean, it really means a lot. I don't want to get too emotional, Victory Lane, but first of all, just really honestly, that's not going to work, is it? I really got to thank God and all the opportunities that he's put in front of me and all the guidance that he's given me through pretty much my whole life, not just all this going on. So I really want to thank Jack Roush, Robbie Reiser, Mark Martin. Without them guys, I would have never been at Roush Fenway Racing. And thanks to Zest Sprint, Fifth Third, Ford, Valvoline, Gatorade, Citizen, all our sponsors, and also big thank you to Doug Yates and Engine guys. Without all that power on restarts and to clear them guys, would have made my job a lot harder.
You can see what this means to him. He's leaving this team, but he cares so much. Nicole?
Do not call Matt Kenseth a lame duck driver, and do not say that this championship is over. 4 to go and just 7 points between our top 2 drivers. Brad Keselowski leads the way over Jimmy Johnson, the 5-time champion, compared to a 1-time champion, but in the Nationwide Series. Next week, it's Martinsville, 1 o'clock Eastern on ESPN Sunday. Next up, it's SportsCenter with more coverage from right here in Kansas. Congrats once again to Matt Kenseth, his 2nd win of the chase.